All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hey.
to The Buzz. My name is Elyse, and I'm going to be your host today. We've got a really special show for you today as Bumblebash Remix registrations are closed. We now have the player list as well as the queens are tied in. We're going to spend the show doing a little bit of a mock draft and showing you all how it could go down. Before we start getting into the mix of that, though, I'd like to invite the organizer and the head TO of Bumblebash Remix, Nathan, to talk about
Hey.
the event. Hey, Napalm, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just having a quiet Sunday,
It's always
walking my
nice.
dog. I don't know. Yeah, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Well, thank
Fall
you
colors.
for joining us. Super excited to do this event sponsored by KQSF and to talk a little bit about BB Remix.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with just everyone from San Francisco who have been like putting content out lately. I know they did something really similar to this before GDC 5 and they've just been posting a lot. So,
Yeah.
thanks to all of you guys who are currently streaming us right now.
Yeah, it's super cool to see all of this content. I think especially it's been a little bit of a lull post COVID, so it's nice to kind of get that excitement back up and running
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. Kudos to them. All right, so I guess let's start with like what is BB Remix and like what are the goals of this tournament? How did this even get started?
Yeah, so Bumblebash Remix, it is a draft invitational, very similar to um, Camp KQ from Portland back, I think it was 2019. But anyways, um, kind of what happened was, in a very roundabout way, I actually wanted to do just something a lot smaller and a little bit, just something fun. I was talking with Brian Lee. I was like, "Is there any way that we can get cabs to this like indoor water park that's in Wisconsin and just like have people in the Midwest kind of have a fun tournament, to come back after COVID and everything like that?" And he was like, well, I don't want to do that, but I am sending cabs to this gaming convention for sales reasons." And we kind of just got talking together. Um, you know, this year, Bumble Bear is not doing a kind of bigger official competitive Bumble Bash. But we thought it would be really good to still do a tournament to kind of say welcome back, and because of the fact that there's been a little bit of a lull since pre-COVID, everything like that. Um, Keeping it in line where things are not necessarily as competitive. There'll still be competitive games, but you're not bringing your own team. You don't have to necessarily think about things like that. Um, the fact that it's at a large gaming convention, there are a lot of other things that people can do. Pinball, old arcade games, console games, tabletop board games, role playing, cosplay, a lot of things.
Yeah,
So
sounds
a
really
lot of
fun.
extras.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a great format, and I feel like you posted kind of a poll when things were post vaccines, people were starting to do stuff again. It was like, what do
Yep.
you want out of the first big tournament back? And a lot of people were like, I just want to see my friends. I miss my
Yeah,
friends.
yeah. More than anything, more than draft, more than bring your own team. Everyone was like, I just want to see people. I just want
Yeah.
to spend time with people. And I am excited about this because this is going to be another tournament where you have your lodging essentially right next door. I remember a lot from Bumble Bash 4, um, that it was just so much fun playing late into the night, till like 3 a.m. And I didn't necessarily have to worry about getting back to a hotel room, on the other side of town. It was just right there and I could just walk back. So, yeah.
Yeah, super convenient. That's really nice. So, what can people expect from BB Remix? What is the tournament itself going to look like?
hmm so like I said, there is going to be a draft. Should I um mention the specifics of the draft, or should I
Yeah.
just give the overview first?
I think I think let's go through it because I think it's a really as someone who played in camp, I am
hmm
really excited to see how this draft mechanic is going to work, and I think it could be
hmm
really, really good.
Yeah, pulled a couple different queens or other people who were interested in the rules, um, and I kind of allowed them like, hey, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. There's two really cool things that I think came out of that discussion. One is we're going to have queens rate themselves, rate each other, and kind of seed queens, not necessarily maybe against each other, but just where would queens naturally fall if they were kind of in um, uh, the entirety of all of the players. And then rather than necessarily doing 4 rounds where you are drafting the 4 players of your team, we're going to do 5 rounds. So if you were kind of like a 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5 queen or what have you, if you're a quote unquote 1 out of 5 queen, you are forced to pick yourself in round one. Or maybe if you're a 2 out of 5 queen, you're forced to pick yourself in round two. And that way, rather than only evening out the players on the other 4 slots, hopefully we're going to even out the skill distributions among all 5 slots, including that captain position itself.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. I remember reading about that for the first time, and I was like, that is such a unique mechanic, and I think it could work really really well. I'm excited to see it in action. Yeah.
The other thing that is going to be probably more behind the scenes and people aren't necessarily going to notice too much, but for kind of smoothing out possible hiccups along the road, we are going to draft ahead of time. But the Delta is still going on. People's lives are a little chaotic sometimes, even without Delta. If someone cancels last second, I'm going to bring the entire list. This person was picked first, this person was picked second, like literally an exact transcript of kind of what happened. We can kind of unwind the clock and be like, okay, this person canceled last second. What would you have picked in that spot? All the names that are above this person on the list, they weren't available back then.
Hmm.
So why are they available now? You can pick anyone below that on the list, and then it'll kind of be like a kind of a cascading thing. Oh, you picked this person here. Well, we'll cross that off. Now this person has to pick someone instead. You can't pick above. You got to pick below. Um, if only 1 or 2 people cancel last second, we'll actually have mostly what the original draft is going to be, and only making really small changes. If absolutely no one cancels, we did it early, and people get to know who is going to be on their team early.
Perfect. That's exciting. Are you going to announce team lists at the tournament, or will people know ahead of time?
We will know the tentative list ahead of time with the gigantic asterisks of if absolutely every single person shows up, this is what the teams are.
Okay.
Yep.
Will players get to know that ahead of time, or is it going to be a surprise when you get to the tournament?
Players will get to know ahead of time.
Okay.
Everyone is finding out at the same time, and so I don't think that that's going to cause any one team to have a better chance than others and be
That's
unfair.
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think especially in this time right now, we have to be flexible. So it makes a
Yes.
lot of sense. I think that's really
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we can probably move into figuring out who our queens are. I know that we have a short list that has been announced
Yeah.
ahead of time, but if you would do us the honor of letting us know everybody who will be queening for BB
Absolutely.
Remix.
There's one small thing. You were also asking what to kind of expect with the tournament. Before we leave that, I maybe want to just comment. So about like what the schedule is.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this for the schedule, Friday night, there's no official play at all. So that'll be a great night for people to actually check out other things other than Killer Queen, because there's just a lot in the convention. But there'll be free play all night. Midwest Gaming Classic goes up until midnight that night. And so if you want to keep on going later than midnight, maybe you could like go to Up Down there in Milwaukee. But Saturday we'll have groups at about 8:30. Things will start closing down a little bit for um, VIG members, which all of us are going to be, um, and kind of setting up their like later night Saturday night party. I don't know if D-Ray or someone else is ready with that like link that I posted in the chat, but there is like a little bit of a video um, showing what the past overnight party was. That'll go until 2 a.m. In reality, it may be more of drinks stop at 2 a.m. and we might get kicked out more towards 3 a.m. Um, but yeah, that's what Saturday night is going to be. And then Sunday, we'll have knockout. And we are actually trying to really schedule the grand final specifically at 4:30 because we're going to be on the front of Twitch page for that. So there, we'll have knockout. We may wait for a little bit and kind of just do um, some free play in the meantime if um, uh, things get done early for that. But then um, we'll do grand finals at 4:30. And after that, an unofficial party at Up Down for anyone who doesn't have an early flight Sunday night leaving.
Sounds good. It sounds like a really, really fun time.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the party, so that I think that will be super interesting.
Oh yes, yeah. There, um, I would not have like leaned towards the us agreeing to that VIG package unless there was kind of like an actual value add for this. I know
Hmm.
175 is quite a bit compared to previous conventions, but both the fact that we have so many other things going on all 3 days of the convention, but then the fact that it's opening up for us, and it looks like according to the video that I shared, it looks like a fun time compared to past times that they did that Saturday night party. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I think we are going to work on trying to get the video. We'll see if we can show it on stream in a little bit. But in the meantime, I think
Hmm.
I wanna hear who the queens are.
Hmm.
Let's get to it.
All right, so we have, and I do need to triple check for like 4 different lists. I have double checked it, but it looks like we have 79 players here. Um, so that would mean 16 queens. Um, First one that we have is from South Florida, Master Joe Miller. Second one from San Francisco, Jess. Third one from Chattanooga is Chase. Fourth from New York is Rob. We have Cesar from Chicago, Alyssa Sweeney from Portland, Dre from Chicago, Kyle Shipwash from Chattanooga, Toshi from Seattle, Eduardo from Dallas, Alexander Lee. I think Alex is also from Dallas. I do not think he's from Austin.
Hmm.
Crystal from Chicago, Bert from Chicago, Nick from Chicago. It's a short drive here. And then Bandito, Burton from Phoenix, and then Brian Lee from San Francisco. So we have 16 queens. I'm excited um, to kind of see all of them draft people, see them be captains. I think it'll be a fun time.
Yeah, I'm excited. One thing that, as a group, when you're talking about this list of queens, kind of going into this intro, we got a little sneak peek. One thing that I was really excited about is it's a really diverse list of queens. I mean, even just talking
Mhm.
about like gender spread, ethnicity, I think skill level, how long people have been playing. It's really a really really good mix of queens. So I'm super excited to see this group.
When I wrote down like the queens that I wanted to ask first, like the first 16, I only had like three white guys just even pop up into my mind. But at the same time, I was like, okay, well, I at least have to ask Cody, Sam, and Woody. I feel somewhat obligated,
It,
but
it, it makes
there,
sense. It makes sense, and you have to. I mean, they're such pillars of the community as it is, and then being medalists at the previous Bumble Bash.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, if you really do look, there's just so much talent everywhere.
Hmm.
So like, why not? Why not be inclusive?
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, I think we are going to cut over to the video of the party just to give people a little bit of a teaser to see what that is going to look like and what they
All
can
right.
expect.
Let me see if I can pull up.
I think
Yeah,
behind the
pull
scenes
up.
they might be able to do it on the stream.
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling up is like a separate tab on my side here.
All right, we should be going in about 10 seconds. We'll see the video.
Cool. While we're waiting, let me pull up that email from the guy who's does Midwest Gaming Classic, because he had a lot of good things to mention. So D-Ray, would you be able to, if you didn't already, skip to minute 32, second 50, I think?
Setting it up in the tent and
Oh, no, no,
trying.
just 32 minutes, 50 seconds.
There, and that's a group that I was on that little Tim Kitts had thrown on when I wasn't expecting it before. And yeah, here we go. And so MGC Jam will have Tim Kitzrow doing it.
There
And
he is.
so there he is now, actually. He's the voice of NBA Jam. And so he will live call you doing ridiculous stuff. And yeah, it's going to be quite the fun time. We're working right now. I'm working with a bunch of voice actors that we have confirmed for the show to bring them in also to do some kind of wacky
A
stuff.
lot of the celebrities just usually make an appearance that we bring in, and they just come to hang out, to take pictures, and just have a good time. Literally, it's
Right.
like the last after party we did that we're showing highlights here. Eric Bischoff walked in, and I'm standing there just having a Coors Light with Eric Bischoff. Like you can't do that anywhere else, type of thing. I feel like you go to a lot of places and you get just get autographs and you're done. No, these guys come hang out and they just talk with everybody and have a good time. Ernie Hudson did the same thing too when he was there.
Yep. And like a lot of them get this little kick out of being able to do funny stuff that's associated with whatever it is that they're known for. So for instance, at the last one we had Ted DiBiase. He was like, "You want me to pass out drink tickets?" And so we made the drink tickets have Ted DiBiase's face on them. So it said like that he
All right. But yeah, I think that'll be really fun that, oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, let me mute this stream so that I'm not talking in my own ear. I think it'll be really fun that this will be a really good party atmosphere, but at the same time, just looking at the numbers of like how many VIG tickets are there and how many people are going to be in Remix. We're going to be about a third of the after party, like just us. So a large portion of this is essentially going to be for us.
That's sweet. That's really, really cool.
Hmm.
Sounds like it's going to be a blast. I'm a little jealous I'm not going to be there. It looks fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're probably going to start transitioning to the next section of the show this afternoon. So, is there any parting words you want to leave us with, Napalm?
No, I am. I would plug registering, but we're already after that date, so I don't know. I'm excited to see everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much for putting this on. Everybody knows how much work it takes for TOs to plan events like this, especially one of this scale. So, from everyone in the community, thank you for all your hard work with this, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to watch it. So,
Yeah. All right. I will stick around on the stream a little bit, but then I'll be just jumping off silently. So,
okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Feel free to
Yeah.
chime in whenever.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we are going to move now to introduce the panelists for the show. And so we're going to start with when I say your name, please turn on your camera, say hello, and then we'll move on to the next panelist. So we're going to start with Dre from Chicago, who is going to be queening at the event.
Hi, everybody. Dre here from Chicago, New York face, Chicago belly. Thanks for having me.
I love it. I love it. Super excited to get your input here, Dre, as somebody who has been queening for a long time and also is going to be playing in the event. So stoked to have you on board. All right. Next, a woman who needs no introduction, Hell from Columbus.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Hey,
Hell, the queen of archive footage.
That you are. I love it. I love it. You definitely are. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
And
for having me.
then we're gonna move on to Lev from Madison.
Hey guys, it's Lev. How you doing?
Hey, Lev. And then a little bit of a surprise guest, super excited, just met him for the first time at GDC, Chase from Chattanooga, who will also be
hello.
queening at the event.
Hello, everyone. I don't have a camera, but I'm Chase.
Totally
Hello.
fine. We can hear that southern drawl just fine, so it'll be enough.
Sounds good.
All right, and moving on to one of my favorite people on the planet, Andi, Portland/San Francisco. Always gotta rep SF.
Hello, yeah, I'm Andi, just a washed up queen from San Francisco, living in Portland. This is my pup. He keeps trying to crawl on me. And yeah, happy to be here.
Hello, hi Barley. The true surprise guest of the evening. And then we also have Carlos from Dallas, Fort Worth.
Hi, everybody.
I
Carlos
was gonna
from
say,
Dallas. Yeah, I turned off my other mic. AKA the best objective in Texas, because that's what our cap says.
I love it. I love it. I would agree. Your objective is very deadly. And then we also have Dan from San Francisco.
Hello, hello. Nice to see y'all.
All right. And then I think that is it joining us for the panelists, unless we have any special guests coming later. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Super excited to walk through this format with you and do a little bit of a mock draft. All right. So I think we're going to start off with a little bit. We'll probably just reiterate how the draft is going to work. I know Napalm talked about that earlier, but queens are ranked according to their relative strength. They're also going to be ranked against the player base as a whole to put them into different categories. And then on the round that they are in the tier 4, they must draft themselves. Drea, I think you have you been working a little bit with Napalm on some of these items? Do you have anything you want to add about how the draft's going to work?
I don't actually. I know there was a bit of discussion about it. I added some input, but I think Dan Geef might have more insight.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to do that. Let me share my screen real quickly, I suppose. Let's see if I can get a quick tab up just to talk to. Let's see how screen sharing works in here. All right. So y'all should be able to see a very simple spreadsheet I just made. Let me know if you can see just this little spreadsheet of the queens.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome. So the idea behind this tournament, here's our list of queens. Check me if I didn't add anybody correctly. But what we as a group want to do is come to kind of a common agreement about which queens belong in which rounds. The idea is that, if we take some of these queens and throw them into round and say that they're in the second round, then the way the draft would go is in the first round, this first group of queens here that we seeded in round 1, they would pick, and we'd start picking other people, and then snake draft our way back up through the queens who were in the second round. And whenever your turn came up in a round, you'd have to pick yourself.
Dan, let me interrupt real quick. I'm getting from the chat on stream that it's actually not being displayed on the Twitch stream.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so it sounds like we see it in our video chat, but it's not being transpired. Anybody know how to do that? D-Ray, Felix, maybe?
All right, we'll see if we can get that up on the stream. And then once we have, probably start talking about the queens a little bit, give a little bit of input from everybody on the panelists once we do get that up there.
Sounds good. Just for background then, while we're getting that set up, the instructions for this group of people, since I think we're going to try and rank these queens in order to get the mock draft going, I wanted to give you all a little question you could ask for yourself to try and figure out, is this queen a tier 1 queen or a tier 2 queen or a tier queen? And what you want to roughly ask yourself is, everybody can probably imagine a couple of first tier queens who are, definitely top of the list, would definitely belong in the top 5th of our group here. Let's just, imagine that Cody was one of them, right? So the question you want to ask yourself is, you get one of these queens, as you look at one of these queens is, hey, listen, there's like one, or, let's say Dan Barron was on the list. Also, like top tier speed warrior, and everybody else is a random average player, no difference between them. They're all equal skill. So the question you might ask yourself is, hey, in a random draft, could this queen, stack up decently well against the top tier queen, and you'd expect them to, pair up pretty evenly? Or do they need a Dan Barron on their side guaranteed before they have a chance of winning against Cody?
Yeah,
so
that's
if they
great.
need a Dan Barron to have a chance against Cody, they're probably a second tier queen. But if you're like, I don't know, I think this person has a chance against Cody, normally, and all things being equal, then they're a first tier queen. If they need 2 Dan Barons, then they're a third tier queen.
I like it. Okay, so I think let's start with talking about the queens a little bit. Can we actually let's keep up this list on, Dan, do you mind keeping it up on the screen for a little bit? I think it's a really nice visual cue to help. So Dre, we're gonna start with you. I'm gonna ask you to, if you have any input about yourself, feel free to give it, but we'll probably give the floor to your fellow panelists.
Okay, sure. You want me input about myself as queen, or do you want me input about the queens list in general?
We're going to start with you, so we'll probably have other people give a little bit of their input about, we can go over any strengths, weaknesses about queens, close matchup with any other queens on the list. If you have anything to round out with yourself, you'll follow. So we're going to start with talking about you.
Okay.
If that's okay, do you mind if I set the stage? I think it's kind of, we should talk about what kind of queening works better for a mixer and for a draft in general.
Okay, I like it. Let's go with that.
And I think, at least from my perspective, I think mixers tend to be a little more chaotic, and so I like kind of a more static, slower queen who doesn't, who focuses more on just pushing the objectives slowly. Doesn't do as well in a mixer, and you want a more aggressive queen who just picks things off and allows your team to slowly steamroll. In that sense, so I think for that, that's like how I will prioritize queens, all else being equal.
Okay. No, I like that. I think that's really, really good input, Lev. I would definitely agree with that. Are there any, well, I guess maybe we don't have to go through every single queen on this list, but are there any queens, based on what you're saying, Lev, that you think are going to perform really well in a format like this?
Well, I was gonna initially call out Rob because Rob tends to be a little more passive, but he has been playing a lot better and more aggressive. At least we saw in GDC, and so now I can't put him down the tier list. But I mean, the classic, like all the queens you think of as the strongest in this tournament, Dre, Shipwash, Cesar, are all aggressive queens. So I think that's going to be fine and equal for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main difference in a draft tournament is that you're going to have to essentially like create team chemistry and get these 4 or 5 players that you're on a team with to essentially agree as much as you can together as fast as possible. You know, you're gonna have to agree on a strategy. You're gonna have to make compromises on positions that you prefer to play or what your strengths are. And a lot of people essentially are gonna probably be told in a way that they might need to just stay in their lane or just kind of like maybe, you know, give preference to other people that were picked ahead of them. You know, one of my main concerns for this is if you were a 3rd or 4th round pick and, you know, somebody tells you in not the best way to just, you know, run drone, that's gotta sting for a little bit, especially if you came to this tournament preparing to warrior, wanting to showcase yourself. That would be kind of a bummer to pay like $600 to drum. But I think what's interesting about that is that the captain, which defaults to the queen, is that you're gonna have to like manage that. So I'm looking. I think some of the best queens of the draft tournament are gonna be people who can manage people the best, make sure that everyone is happy, and then because you know if you play happy, you're gonna play well. But echoing on what Lev was talking about, aggressive queens. I think a lot of the queens or like top tier queens, they're aggressive until like they're not aggressive until they have to be, right? Like you're aggressive until you essentially start losing trust in your team. And I'm looking at like potential match winners. Like you want to for a draft tournament, I think you want to have a queen that can like potentially steal a set or steal a map from somebody. You know, if like a snail's in the net or something, like maybe coordinate a quick queen kill. So, but you definitely want somebody who has a bit of creative flair and aggression to them. Somebody who really ramp it up.
Yeah, definitely. No, that totally makes sense, Dre.
Are we trying to rank the queens, or are we just trying to put them in a certain round?
I think we are going to talk about the queens a little bit, and then I believe we are going to. Dan will probably lead us through actually going through and putting the queens into the rounds. The round and the ranking, I think, are one and the same. Dan can correct me if that's wrong.
That's right. We're going to do both of those. I think right now we want to talk about generally who do we think are in the first tier. Maybe we can like go around the room and ask like who do we think is probably a first tier queen. People can nominate names that they think might deserve to be on that list. Just as a way to talk about who should be in the first round or not in the first round, and then we can get along with the actual ranking and ordering.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from either Carlos or Andi or Hel about some of the queens that they're really looking at to be in that round one.
I think the person that stands out to me is actually Chase, because I was getting so fucking tilted. Sorry, I don't know if I can say F-bombs on this stream. But I was getting so tilted at Emporium right before GDC. Like, every time I was queening against Chase, like, I couldn't win those games. And granted, I'm washed up. But, like, I just kept watching Chase get on, like, random teams with anybody, no matter what team combo, no matter how strong the opposite team was. Like, he just kept winning, and I was very frustrated. So I definitely see that, like, wild, spicy, like, lone type of, Lone Star kind of queen in Chase.
No, I agree 100%. I've been talking to Felix about all the different queens and stuff lately, and Chase is definitely the one I've been probably the most excited to watch play, because I always have a fun time playing against him in every tournament I play. I haven't got to play with him yet, but he's always just really exciting to watch, and he hover transfers everywhere, which is really, really annoying when you're a hovering warrior, because he'll kill you every time.
It's the most efficient way to get around the map as a queen. I don't.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, Chase is definitely scary. And I think like we saying like aggressive queens, because he plays with Mika so much as his main warrior. Like I think he's gonna do well with like whatever first speed he picks up to like be aggressive, and that's what you're gonna really want in this, because yeah, I mean that whole team chemistry thing about like if you get another team wiped like in a draft tournament, it's not gonna always be easiest to like recover. So being aggressive in his way like is gonna help him a lot.
Yeah.
Chase, you have anything to say about yourself? Defend your fellow panelists' ranking of you?
Micah's the only reason why I'm good. Micah covers all my weaknesses.
Well, it's a good thing Micah is going to be on the player list. Maybe you'll be able to snag him.
No, I'm officially not going any Chattanooga players. I play with
I
them too
love
much.
that.
Yes.
Chase, I gotta say, I think that's I love that a lot. I got a lot of respect for queens who are like, I'm gonna make the most out of this. I'm gonna play with different people I don't get to play with normally.
Yeah.
That's great.
No,
Anyone else?
I'm personally bullish on Chase now because he's picking up on my strategy. I'll give you a little tip from last Buzzcast though. The way to really lock in that humility +3 modifier is bet against yourself on the buzz.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Is everybody kind of in agreement that we're probably gonna end up? Well, I guess we can. Dan, do you want to go through each queen and then put people in there? Or do we want to do that all at the end?
I think we can probably do it once all at the end and just have everybody make a ranking and put them into tiers, and then we'll combine them all, and then proceed with the draft from there.
I like it. That might be good. It might be a little bit better to do that behind the scenes than put them all in. Okay.
Hey, look, why don't y'all talk a little bit more about the player list, and I'll set that up in this sheet, and then give you guys a quick shout when it's time to put your queen rankings in.
Okay, perfect. I'm kind of interested in talking a little bit about our non-queen mains. I'm not sure if D-Ray or someone else from SF, if you can keep up the player list on the screen for everyone else, that would be nice to see.
You can get the player list up.
Okay. Because I know that we have Nick Davis has a good amount of experience queening, but is not a queen main traditionally. Most tournaments, I would say Nick is performing as a warrior. Is there anybody else on the list who is typically not a queen main?
Crystal can play every role and has done. She's queened. She queened at BB4, I believe, right?
She did.
Yeah, and she made it into the final bracket. But she also has spent a lot of time doing a lot of speed warrior and just every position as needed.
She is really one of the best all-around players in the game. I mean, I'm biased. I love her, so I think she might be the best all-around player. But that's really, really true. Do we think that? How does everybody feel about Crystal and Nick coming in as primarily warriors as queens? Is that gonna help both of them? Is that gonna hurt either of them?
I'm super excited for it. I'm loving coming from this pandemic and seeing so many like newer queens coming out of it. So we're getting new, fresh spice happening. It's not just the same teams, same queens all the time. So I think it'll be really good mix up for everybody. I mean, they're going to learn a lot. The players that play with them are going to learn a lot. I think it's just going to be a really good learning experience for everyone. And it's going to be really fun to watch too.
Right. I think
Sorry, go on.
Crystal's been queening since like a little bit even before like Bumblebash 2. So I wouldn't necessarily bucket her into the new queen category. I would say the greenest queen is definitely Nick Davis, but he's been kind of like working hard at it, trying to get a lot better. And we're in Chicago, and if you look at the draft list right now, I think we have currently like 5 queens from Chicago going to this tournament, and I will say the boy can hang. So I think some people will be surprised by Nick. Obviously he's got a lot to prove, and he's going to be a bit of a dark horse. And I have him going in the round early as well too. But I think that might play to his benefit. He might be able to pick up some decent warriors, and surprise a few people. But I think I have Crystal pretty high up for in my list as well for queens.
Okay. Sounds good. Great to hear. Are there any? There's a few queens that I feel like are. Is there any difference between queens that typically play with like full scene teams all the time versus those that are constantly playing with like mixers when they go to tournaments? I'd like to talk a little bit about that and see if anyone on the panelists has any input in that avenue.
Sure, I can speak to that a little bit. I mean, having played, I've been playing like Killer Queen for like almost like 7-8 years now, and bringing like playing on a random team or playing a draft is completely different than playing on a bring your own team type team. I'm looking at like Queens, Chase, Eduardo, Toshi, Joe Miller especially, who play a lot with like their local scene and bring their local scene teams to the travel tournaments. And I think that's great and everything to kind of like signal boost and like bring the spotlight onto your own team. But in a way, I think that kind of like pigeonholes you and kind of traps you into this particular play style. I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them struggle in a draft format. Maybe keeping things a bit simpler, maybe like just a flat 3-1 might work out. But I think, again, like I said, like you really have to like basically bury the differences and disagreements in strategy to make a draft team work. And certain styles might not gel well with each other. So I think especially for those queens, they're gonna need to get a lot of like intel, know a lot about the players they're potentially going to draft, and see if like they can be great, but who knows if it's compatible with you, like anecdotally, like me and B Wong's a fantastic player, but when I play with B Wong, it's a mess. I can't play with the guy because we just have two completely different brains about the game. But thankfully, there's a lot of people who are really good at Killer Queen.
No, I think that's a really important point to bring up, Jay, and I think one that will help probably transition us to the next topic about, are there any queens here that we think will pair really well with specific maybe first round picks, or any queen warrior pairings that might look good on paper but may not perform as well as anticipated?
I mean, if you have a more aggressive queen style and you like, you tend to just go out and just like you kind of like leave your warriors in the dust a little bit, and then you have a safer warrior behind you, like a Wyatt style, then like that's good. But then if you have another aggressive warrior with you, like looking at this team list, like one of my top warrior picks is Kyle Gustafson because he's incredible at pulling stuff off, or Matt Abdu. But if you're aggressive, you're either going to get those kills with your warrior or they're going to be dead, and that you have to basically balance that out. And I might want to go for a safer player if I'm an aggressive queen, or not. I
I
don't
would
know.
say
Your
another
style.
a thing as a queen that if you're drafting, some people might think like, oh, let me get like a really good like first speed or whatever, that'll help me. But then you also have to like think about if that your vanilla is gonna work well with your speed, because sometimes you're not the one that's doing the pinches with them. Like, are they gonna work well together? You can't get a super aggressive speed and then a vanilla who, holds a lot of space and just, because then everybody's just going solo or not queuing up correctly. So like, you're thinking we all done casual drafts in our local scenes probably, and we pick people, but you have to think like long ahead, like, okay, I'm gonna pick, this speed and hoping to pick one of like these 3 vanillas and then maybe like one of these 6 flexes. It's just one of those things because you have to think what else is. It's just not about how well they play with you; it's how well they play with each other. So.
Do we think there's any queens on this list that might prioritize kind of their safe vanilla warrior over a speed warrior in their first round pick?
I could honestly see Cesar picking Lev as first round pick if he's able to. I mean, if Lev doesn't get snatched, which I think is a very scary combo because you guys played together at GDC and were super strong. And like, I think Cesar is like one of my favorite crazy queens in the world. But Lev is one of my favorite vanillas in the world, so that combo just scares me.
I think I get too much credit for being safe.
Yeah, you are not safe.
You can be.
Used
But I
to
would
be,
say
but I
that
think I've
you're.
lost that elements a bit.
I don't think you're safe, love, but I think you're very agile with a vanilla. And the fact that you can do so
Thanks.
much with a vanilla, I think, is what makes you powerful.
Thanks. As long as I have other players up, but if I kill myself way too often doing dumb stuff.
Well,
Speaking of, sorry, go on.
no, you're good, love. I can follow up with what I was gonna say after.
I was gonna say, just speaking of, like, that is like a thing a lot of queens have to kind of going back to what Dre was saying, like your especially in mixers, your warriors and drones are gonna do some of the dumbest things you've ever seen, just because it's a mixer, you're having fun, and so your ability to communicate with them and like kind of get back on the same page while not ruining the vibe is important, and so kind of having knowledge of each individual person's personality and how it works with you is important.
Yeah, definitely. What I was gonna say is, Andi, you actually drafted Lev at camp. Was that kind of your thought process?
I honestly, when I drafted Lev, I just like thought Lev was the best warrior in the world. I still think Lev is one of the best warriors in the world. But I don't think I was the right queen for Lev. Like, I wasn't a crazy enough queen at the time of camp. Like, I was definitely playing like a slow and steady game. And like, I feel like our team struggled a little bit because like I wasn't able to really hunt anything with Lev. Like, I think I just kind of underutilized him as a resource. But yeah, I think a really spicy queen would benefit from having Lev on their team.
Okay.
Talk about our past too much, but I thought we did great. I thought we almost took it was basically you and I, and we almost took down Damish and Matt Abdu. I was really proud of that.
That's true. That's true. We also had the
Mm.
cutest team shirts because they were
It's
hot
very
pink.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
have a very cute team too. I'm
It was a very
little
cute
bit
team.
biased. One of my best friends in the world was also on your team, so.
Yeah, we got McKenna.
Yeah,
She's
going
great.
on what Andi was saying, there is definitely like a certain like amount of pacing that a queen has or players have. You know, someone who's probably a bit more patient, and let's just use like Felix as an example. Felix is going to play the game at a much different pace than Matt Abdu, and pairing them up with a queen, a certain queen style, who like maybe like Andi, maybe a queen like Andi who wants to play the slow and steady game can pair well with someone like Matt Abdu because Matt's going to be working with you, considering with you, stinching with you, and basically that guy is like nonstop plays. I mean, he
love
sees a
playing with
target
Matt.
and he's gonna go for it. But what maybe speaking from my experience, maybe I don't want to play with Matt Abdu because my other warriors I feel are a bit flimsy. Or if I go, the thing about drafting too is you kind of have to predict what your second, third, and fourth picks are going to be like that too. So like if I have the potential to pick Matt Abdu, I'm going to need some much more safer warriors.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be like tagging gates all day, or like and God forbid, like Matt Abdu has like one average game or one bad game. you're tagging like the speed gate for them for the entirety of the match, and next thing you know, like the snail's in net, and both of you are like 0 and 5. Well, you're 0-3, he's like 0-5-8, whatever, and everyone else is having a bum time trying to run berries.
Yeah. Yeah, spice is spice is much less valuable in a draft, right? You like if you're going to spend that top pick on somebody, you need to make sure they're going to be up. And
I think it's about balance.
Plays are great, but like you need a lot more stability through the rest of the game, and if that's what like a lot of people are used to being that player and being on a platform of very skilled other players, so they can do the playmaking spicy stuff. But that's probably not what these teams are going to be like,
Yeah. Dre and Chase, what are you both kind of looking for in your first pick?
Chase, I'll let you go first.
I'm just mainly looking for people who want to have fun. I just want to have a good time and just do dope shit, essentially.
Hell yeah. Heard.
For panelists on the call, there's a link in the chat, in the mock draft chat, that has a link to where you should be filling out your queen rankings.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. For me, I think that's a great question. Elyse, it kind of goes on to what you were asking earlier when you said, do you think any queens would prioritize grabbing like a vanilla warrior over speed warrior? I think the number one thing that I'm going to look for in like the thing I've looked up for in my draft teams I've always been balance, and I want to find the like correct combination of players to make a Killer Queen stir fry and get this dish cooking. Appropriately spicy, sweet, savory, maybe, but you know, I made my own draft listing, and there are not a lot of so there's 15 to 16 queens, right? And there's not, from in my eyes, I don't think there's like 15 to 16 players who can play a striker style speed warrior, a playmaker, a facilitator who can like really help you run the board, almost like a lieutenant or like a co-captain. And I don't think that there's going to be enough of those players in the later round to really anchor your team down and be a spine. So in my head, I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot of teams here that may run. If everyone on your team wants to worry up, I foresee a lot of like all mill flex or 3-1 snail escort, where there's two players on the objective side hopping off, switching off on who escorts and who rides the snail. But I think berries are going to be strong in this tournament, considering the cast of players that we have. And I think I want safe players. So I think definitely, if it came down to it, in my predictions, like I think a lot of the main strikers are going to be gone, and I think that I'm going to have to adjust my play style to the potential like cast of players that I will have. I think I want to almost play like maybe I'll just give away my strategy. Probably like a slow escort on snail or berries. Berries will be really, really strong. 3-1 flex berries, and you want like, I mean, people mentioned, or I think already, like a player like Austin Waters, Felix, or kind of like or like even like Lev, who's a bit of a spiky spine, who are like not the same archetype as Micah, Ryan PJ, or Matt Abdu. I would say Devin D-Ray is really is maybe more in line with. He's like in between. Actually, he's more like Austin actually too, because he can facilitate the board so well. I think they're not extremely known for their like stunning speed warrior kills, but they can most definitely surprise you. You want smart players in the end. Like Mario Herrera is a really, really good striker. Somebody to open up the game, but for me, if my like knowing my queen style, you know, I've had somewhat decent success doing this, but I would like two really strong, reliable players who can play speed and maybe play warrior as a speed warrior versus just like a queen hunter, maybe even, you know. I need people to like intelligent people to play the board and understand what's going on in the game to facilitate the objective rather than win the game for themselves, winning the game for the team. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, totally, definitely makes sense. Thank you for that input. That's really helpful. So you're looking for, what I'm hearing is you're looking for a Sam Weedle, basically. You want a woman who can do it all.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm giving
Sam's
away
warrior
your
is like
strategy too much.
terrifying. I don't know if you guys have been
really
watching
scary.
the SF stream lately, but like, she's just insane.
I remember her double kill on Woody and Nick Davis at camp. Her warrior's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're working behind the scenes to kind of get this ranking into order, we'll pull that up on stream in a few minutes when that's done. Does anyone have any other comments about queens, strengths, weaknesses, pairings, anything that they want to cover that we haven't talked about yet?
I have some questions for the Chicago people. I don't know, how much has Bert and Crystal been playing? Because like obviously they were great before, but if they haven't played much, queening takes a little longer to get back into than other roles.
Yeah, I thought about that too, but it's I realized that like getting back into Killer Queen is actually not that not as hard as I thought it was going to be. That was kind of my main concern about Crystal too before she was selected as a standby. When she was a standby queen, But there's maybe just under less than a month left. When I saw her first night back, she still was hover transferring, and I was like, Mike, what's wrong with you? Go. Bert's been coming out very consistently. Bert's still the man. I actually really want Bert to have a good tournament this time around. My only concern is that he might not be the most knowledgeable about the player pool. So obviously, I'm gonna help him and Crystal out on drafting players. But I think I'm not like remotely concerned about them at all.
That's a great point that I would love to talk about. Because obviously knowledge of the players is going to be a huge advantage, since this is it seems like most of our players we have a lot of Midwest players and then a lot of San Francisco players. Are there any queens that might be able to pick up some sleeper picks that other queens might not be aware of? Kind of that geography privilege.
I could honestly see Jess picking up. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that these are players people wouldn't know of, but I could see Jess picking up like Ryan or D-Ray and that being really strong, because like, I don't know, I feel like people still don't know like sometimes who Ryan is, which is like crazy because he did so well at the last Bumblebash too, but like his Speed Warrior is just insane. I mean, so is
Too
D-Ray
late.
for that matter.
Cat's out of the bag. They did too well.
I know.
I'm wondering about if there's some names from Chicago that are people that I'm not very familiar with. Even just looking at the screen up we have right now, like there's a Steve I see on line 40, Marshall on 55. There's a good amount of players that I think maybe haven't traveled a lot, or maybe I'm just not aware of. So I wonder if that will benefit any of the Chicago queens, or even nearby Madison players. I don't think we have a strong Milwaukee showing. It doesn't seem like.
No.
I will say about Steve. Steve's been playing for forever. He's a great player. He is probably the most rogue player I've ever seen on the cab, and so I think he's a great sleeper pick, and for all the good and bad reasons. Like, right, you might have it's going to be a little more chaotic when you play with Steve. So if you're ready for that, if your team's set up for that, it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, Steve was, I think, the most surprising name I've seen on this list. I don't think any of us have seen Steve in at least maybe 2 years. Steve is one of the oldest like veteran like Killer Queen players in Chicago. He plays he's similar to Andrew Dotson, where he holds a lot of vertical and he's extremely aggressive. If things go right, if it doesn't rain that day, he's gonna be an amazing late round pick. I haven't seen him. I texted him to come out this Wednesday, so we'll see how he is. But he's queen before too. I think it's more about just managing the player then at that point. Speaking of players that I think that would be potential sleeper picks, maybe for the people who haven't been speaking much, I think I have a name that I think Hell and Lev might be able to talk about. I think my top sleeper pick that's not from Chicago is actually Hilton from Madison.
Yeah, that's great. I do want to get into a little bit more of the Warrior talk. I think we should table it just a second for now and we're going to take a quick little break just so that as the panelists can kind of collect their thoughts, and then we're going to present kind of our tier list for where we're going to end up putting all the queens, and we'll probably start talking about Warriors and then maybe eventually start drafting them a little bit. All right, so I am going to mute for just a second while we take this like quick 1 minute break, and then that everybody can get their kind of rankings in, then we'll end up pulling that on stream in a little bit.
I think this is a good time for me to head out. It was great talking with everybody. I'll still probably be in the chat, but I have other things I also have to get to today. See you guys.
Okay. Bye, Nemo.
Nathan.
Yeah.
All right. Is everybody? Does everybody have the sheet open where our individual rankings go? Anybody not know the sheet that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, well, I'm not sharing anything now, so let me share the screen I'm talking about. Your video is pretty low, or your audio is really low, by the way, D-Ray, but whatever. So here's the sheet I'm talking about. Here it is at 150% for easier viewing. So everybody, once you've got your people in, just copy them into the combined sheet, which is the one that I'm displaying right now.
Do we have to color code it for the tiers?
If you, I mean, as an easy way to represent the tiers,
Okay.
where you think the tiers are is good.
Okay. What shade of pink? No.
You can copy format.
There we go. I found it.
Format, but then adjust the colors because those are just our tierings.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is so rude what I'm about to do, but
Yeah. Well, you signed up for it.
I did. I'm gonna be so
You know.
rude right now.
Your face is on it. It's too late now. Yeah.
All right, I'm a jerk, but whatever.
Mm.
I'm missing someone.
On the panel right now, on the show?
No, just on my list.
Mm.
Elyse, I'm sad you're not queening. Speaking of queens who hover transfer.
I'm not there yet.
Hmm.
Oh, we're live again. According to D-Ray.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Oh, we were off for a little bit? I had no idea.
Yeah, we did a little. We just took a little 1 minute break. So.
Oh.
Little 1 minute break.
Jess, Lev, Elyse, you want to copy your results into the main?
Yes. 1 second. I messed up somewhere in here.
Oh. Gotta find the right pink.
It's on the far right. It's like, yeah, it took me a few tries. Like
Okay.
the rightmost color.
Yeah, I got it. I was trying to use the picker
I can't find the
tool.
right green. I can't find the right green.
It's the top row, by the way, not the second row.
Yeah, just like right-click copy format.
Are we doing? Sorry, I missed that. Are we doing format by color or the tier by color?
Yeah, that's what I did. I'm sorry. That was I definitely copied that off my own sheet.
Good improv.
I like how these colors look together, so I appreciate the.
I think we got to a good place with it.
Thank you. I picked those colors.
Oh no.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm. They're Albanese gummy bear colors.
Oh really?
Oh.
Oh, this is fun to see how like different our tiers are. Like I think we're somewhat in agreement on placements, like relative order, but then our tier list is quite different. Like where the skill gap changes.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. Maybe I should share my warrior tier list.
Just all the lists we
I
have.
can kind of my warrior tier list is what's been up on the stream. If you want to share yours and talk to it a little bit too, like if you've got cool stuff there, that's cool, Dre.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, why not, right? I mean, what? Like at this point, it's a draft. You know, like somebody's gonna overachieve in this tournament, and somebody's gonna like completely like S the bet. So we'll see. We'll see. Somebody's going
Alright.
to be a legend, and somebody's going to be a legendary has-been.
All right.
Made me think of the Mighty Ducks, and it's like, like I'm a has-been. But you're a never was.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the players that people talk about who always have like, oh yeah, if they get on a good team, man, they have so much potential. I'm seeing in chat that people are saying Tyler's saying the Banditos sleep. But I think that's fair though. Burton is an extremely interesting queen. I advocated for Burton to be picked, but I've never seen Burton either like not play with like on a pure like free agent list, a pickup team, or like Phoenix, or literally just by himself in 4 bots. Like
that's what I was also thinking too, Dre. I second everything you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like Burton essentially has nothing to lose. His teammates might, but it depends on, I guess, like how he deals with the pressure and how he like works with like, you know. I remember at GDC actually, after the main tournament ended, he wanted to run like his own like little mini draft tournament, and maybe he garnered some experience from that. I probably assume so. The guy travels to all the tournaments, so he's probably super accustomed to playing with a lot of like players and in like casual sets, but in a tournament, I can't justify putting him any higher when he hasn't, you know, going off tournament results. This is where he's gonna land. Do I think he's like the very worst queen out of this list? No, but and with regards to the draft, it's just how it's gonna happen, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think like out of this list. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, let's talk a little bit then about the how we want the rounds to work. So if everyone can see my screen up here, this list on the left, on the bottom left here, is where we wound up for queen rankings. So that's everybody. So that's just the orders that everybody did average together. So we're just gonna, I guess, figure out real quick what we want the tierings to be. You know, we got a bunch of people who thought there were about 8 or 9 tier 1 queens. We got another smaller set of people who thought there were only 3 or 4 tier 1 queens. Interested in having some people, you know, chat, you know, just real quickly for 30 seconds about why you made your tier list have 3 people versus 8. Anybody want to talk about their 3 or 4 person tier list and why they did a smaller tier list instead of a bigger one?
I'll go first. With me, I'm gonna say ahead of time, I don't like ranking people. I absolutely hate it. So please don't anybody get offended. That's what I'm most worried about. I think everybody's great. I'm really excited to see everybody play. But my reasoning for doing 2 like I tried to make them like relatively the same size, with 2 being larger, but with 1 it's basically Chase is my sleeper pick for sure to be a round 1 queen. But the other 3 have just like performed really well in Bumblebash's most majors anyway. My most excited pair up for this though is the Jess and Rob. And the reason I put Jess above Rob is because she wiped him at GDC. So
yeah, 4 times.
That's my reasoning for putting her there. But yeah, I'm just sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Did you say you can't argue with results? I mean, it's true.
Numbers don't lie.
Sure. Anybody want to talk about why they put out a bigger list? I feel like Hell was saying, yeah, there's a couple people who have like won tournaments or placed top 1 or 2 at Bumblebash, and like, yeah, those people are tier 1 for sure. Does anybody want to talk about why they had a bigger tier 1?
I had a big tier 1 for the same reason that Hell stated. I hate ranking people. I think everyone's amazing. I think everyone is tier 1, especially in my heart. But yeah, I mean, I just think everyone that like in my tier 1 list is just actually tier 1. I think it's really going to come down to who they pick on their teams, but I think any of those queens can face off against each other and it would be really competitive. I think with tier 2, I kind of went for queens that I haven't seen like play as much at like big tournaments. But I do think Burton like is a total cowboy and has the potential to like shock everybody. Yeah, that's why I have a big list. But everyone's great.
I had a small tier one
Delightful.
because I went with the.
Anybody else have anything they want to say about rounds? Otherwise, I'm just gonna take a minute and make a little sheet that we can start dropping player selections into and look at for the player selections round. Any comments before we move on?
Wait, was that Lev?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally shut down my computer earlier, so I want to make sure it worked. But
Looks like
I was gonna say I had a small tier one because I was going on the idea of like, okay, can these queens match up with the top queens without with all things being equal, or do they need a Dan Barron to make it equal? And I was like, I think only those three need an incredible warrior to. Don't need an incredible warrior to make it work.
This screen share down.
Can Dan not hear you?
I don't think Dan can hear me.
This is a Discord bug. Sometimes people can't hear one person, and it's hilarious. But I think, Dan, I think you can't hear Lev.
I'll drop.
I've never heard that before. That's funny.
Yeah. I'll be right back.
This happened when my GPC team was like doing a strategy talk. I just couldn't hear D-Ray.
Oh, that's great.
So sad.
Oh, he must just be agreeing with everything I'm saying. He just.
Yeah.
Dan, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. This is like, if I can't hear you, that's not at all as good as not listening to you.
Man, I like the.
I'm doing some spreadsheet stuff in the background. I'll get you in a second.
Okay, sounds good. It's interesting to hear everybody on the panelists kind of their rationale for who they are choosing to be in what tier and why. I think the differentiation between the large group one versus the small one is very, very interesting, and some things that I didn't think about when I was going through these lists.
I think one of the most for me, one of the most important qualities in a queen is their ability when they have one warrior or they're wiped to be able to get the rest of their team up. And I think the combination of positional awareness and technical skill that Dre, Cesar, and Kyle have is unparalleled. And for me, that elevates them above everyone else by a notable amount.
No, that definitely makes sense. Definitely. I think most people, even just looking at this list, I think most people would agree that they're kind of looking like the top three almost unanimously. Pretty close.
I didn't put Kyle in the top three. I actually put Jess in the top three instead of Kyle. And a big part of that is I remember during Camp KQ, I think Kyle kind of struggled a little bit with a mixer team because he has a very specific queen style. So I think he needs people who can specifically support the kind of stuff he's going to do. For example, if he's going to hang out in the dusk tunnel for half the game, he needs people who are going to be able to make plays off of that instead of being queen, why are you there? Help us with whatever, I don't know. But then I think Jess, on the other hand, obviously I stan Jess. Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
So I'm obviously biased, but I'm also using data and facts to talk about why Jess is so good. I just think her tech is super, super sharp. And her ability to just get beat up. I don't know. She just loves getting beat up on by a bunch of warriors. She came up to Portland a few weeks ago to train before GDC. And she was just looking so strong. Even some of the trickiest speed warriors in Portland couldn't really dupe her quite as easily. So I just think her rebuilding skills are really good. And she's just gotten so calm under pressure as well. I just think, I don't know, it's just a pleasure to warrior for her. She makes you feel really calm and safe as a warrior. So
no, I love that. I think just from conversations that I've had with Jess in the past too, I think Jess is going to be one of those queens who does a really intentional job of drafting. I don't know if Jess is going to have a ranking of every single player and be this is the best speed warrior, this is the second best speed warrior, this is who I'm going to draft. She's really going to think about who is going to play well with her, who's going to play well with the team, who's going to fill out specific positions. I think she's incredibly intentional with her team building at tournaments, and I think that's going to suit her really, really well in a draft format.
I agree.
She told me vibes are the number one
for
her, which I agree. When I'm playing on a mixed team, vibes are my number one as well. I want to do well, but I can't do well if everyone's fighting, not getting along,
Yeah. Well, I think she understands that vibes on a team and playing with certain people will elevate her to play better, and she's going to harness that, which is really smart, and I think something that not every queen does.
And there's just like a lot of SF in the pool, so I could see Jess benefiting from picking up like any SF player because I think she plays really well with everyone in the scene.
Yeah, vibes are good until they're not.
Totally not.
Mixed teams are bound to struggle.
Until you lose on Dayberries, and then the vibes are.
Yeah, but it's what I mean by that is like vibes are good. You can have a great team, and we're gonna be really excited to play with each other. But like if you lose every single one of your games in groups, it's gonna be a struggle. Like you can like the sweetest people can get pretty despondent quickly. Speaking to my queen list, I would like to talk a little bit about that if that's okay.
Yeah, do you want to?
Tiers. Yeah, I mostly agree with what everyone is saying. I forgot about Kyle's performance at Camp KQ. I know, but that was a lot of things too. I think Kyle and a lot of other queens had issues with their team synergy and chemistry. So I think I think most definitely he's going to learn his lesson this time around. He's going to pick a much better team. He maybe knows more of the players now. You know, he's currently cabless right now, but he's still so good. He came through Chicago a month ago, and he's hasn't missed a beat. He won DC. What else was he featured? He went to like down in South Florida recently, right? And he got, what was it, third or fourth at KQ 30, and that was a really surprising finish for him because he has this like really amazing ability to like pick players and get them to play to his like a very strange style. The only other player, like I think he's the most unique queen on the list for sure, and I think he's the most adaptable. From there, I put like, so that's why he's just up there. I think he's like pure killer queen. Like you drop him in at any scene on a Friday night or in like a major tournament, he's gonna do well. Like all the way across the board. Rob's gotten so much better. Rob, I want to talk about his performance back in DC as well too. Rob, I'm sorry, he's not even in the room. I just read him in the chat, but he played with those Killer Queen Black players, and he did something with them. He really, I think he grossly overachieved with those players. Something that like Brian Lee was doing at GDC, and I remember when I came to visit San Francisco in August, seeing those players play then, and then seeing them play again on stream, and then at GDC. Huge improvement. I had a really tough time tiering my list, but it's basically from top down, in order. Bert, Alyssa, Crystal, and Jess are where they are because I think they have like really strong technical abilities and they can lead a team. I love Alyssa's queen so much. I think she is. Her and Bert have like very measured aggression, and they take the top like teams always close. It's never like a smoke out or anything like that. And they fight to the end. They play extremely well. Who know? I don't know. I haven't heard much about Alyssa's play. Andi, maybe you can talk a little bit about after this one.
I got to play with her last week. She actually is visiting Salt Lake for some work stuff. So I think we're actually going to get dinner. We're going to get dinner tonight, actually. So.
Oh my god, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's grinding. She's feeling it. She wants to come and she wants to do well. She's ready.
Good. Yeah, her sticks are so crisp.
Andi will know more. Andi's been playing more with her, but I just from talking to her this past week, she's stoked, and I think she's going to do well.
But I think just one more point to make, and then we can talk about Alyssa. But I think the queens I think have a lot to prove, or potential to gain from this tournament is Joe Miller, Master Joe, and Toshi, Alex Lee, and maybe Chase to build more reputation. Joe's been playing with the Fire Nation for so long, but I've played with him in casuals as well too. He's extremely like talented queen. He's really good. Toshi's always fashioned himself the underdog in Seattle, so this is kind of for me kind of like a let's put it up again. Let's see what you can really do as queen, especially as well too. I know Toshi wasn't too happy with his camp performance a year and a half ago, but yeah.
Toshi played great in GDC. I was really impressed. I remember somebody saying that he'd been getting a lot better over the past couple of years, and he really showed it off at GDC. It was impressive.
I have a fun little anecdote about Toshi at GDC. On Friday night, for people who don't know, I played with a team full of KQB players who do not play arcade, brand new. I queened. I'm not a queen. So they were playing trash. They
You
were playing
queen.
trash
You're a queen.
games. They played trash games on Friday night, and all the boys like found me a little bit later, and they ran up to me and they were so excited. They were like, "Elyse, we just played with the best queen at this whole tournament. He just was so great. He was so positive. We're trash." He was like making these huge plays and like telling us it was all us and hyping us up and being like, "It's the team. The team is so good." They're like, "We think it's Cody. Is Cody here? We think it's Cody." And I was like, "Cody's not here. It's definitely not Cody." So I named out a few people and I was like, was it Toshi? And they were like, "No, we don't think it's Toshi. We don't know though." So I spent the whole next day trying to figure out who it was. It was Toshi.
That's great.
Like,
That's awesome.
I have very, very high hopes for Toshi's demeanor and his attitude, and obviously his technical ability is insane. But like all the KQB boys thought that he was Cody, and I think that says something.
That's really cute.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Is this the part where we get to talk about Alyssa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
awesome.
it.
I'm so excited. No, I just like fucking love Alyssa. She's finally like queening again in Portland too, which is amazing because there was a while where like no one wanted to queen in Portland because we've been like one of the slower scenes to come back. But like she's so good, and particularly what I think she's good at is playing with groups of randos. So I think she's going to do really well at this tournament. Like we were playing on Friday night with a bunch of randos, like bar randos, people that don't even know how to like run top berries on Dusk. And like we actually won a set against regulars because she was just so like positive and encouraging the whole time and was willing to like teach the berry runners how to run the berries while also queening on like Last Life. So yeah, I just think she has a great attitude, and I hope that takes her really far. And I always loved that she like thanks people for getting kills and like makes you feel really appreciated, because I think
What
that's
does
one of
what
the
does she does she is it hot? I can't remember. Yeah.
She goes, hot.
I love
So
it.
cute.
I love it. Totally agree with that. She came out, she was here last week, and she actually went to the bar on Monday night by herself just to like mess around and learn the cab and get some tech. And I think she is grinding right now, and I think she's going to do really, really well.
Yeah. And for those of you that are like newer to KQ, Alyssa is like one of the OG queens. Like she was like my idol when I first started playing Killer Queen.
So I'm excited to see her queen for this too, because I mean she's been warrioring mostly lately and for Bumblebash, so it's gonna be really exciting to see her queen again. She's just so sweet too that I imagine her team, no matter their placement, they're gonna have a great time regardless.
Yeah, I remember being at camp and like, being pretty new, and then like she complimented my shirt that I was wearing, and I was like, "Oh, that was a Sailor Moon girl."
Yeah. She is Sailor Moon.
And I was just like so
funny.
happy.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, does anybody else want to kind of walk through their team list? Any final comments, or Dan, do you want to take us into the next phase?
Last queen comments before we go on?
I guess I have one that I mentioned before. Brian Lee is kind of one of my sleeper picks for someone who I think is going to do really well. He does play on a lot of mixed scene teams, queening, and somebody brought up about how he played with maybe it was Udre, about how he played with the KQB team. He actually, when our teams played each other at GDC, he told me afterwards that he had them all run dayberries because he knew that was going to place a lot of stress on me as a queen, and that if he could shut me down and make me kind of babysit berries, that was like probably their best chance of beating us on day map. And so I think Brian is one of those people who's going to be really cerebral with kind of his plans and what he runs. And we all know he's not a slave to the meta. So I think he's going to do some fun things with his team. And I think he's going to make some really smart decisions. So I'm excited to see what he pulls out. And I think he could be a huge, huge sleeper queen that performs really well. Because his tech is just wild as it is.
So crazy. I
Mhm.
love watching him queen. He's just he just gets out of the craziest stuff, and he just puts himself in there too. I'm like, how are you even doing that? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You think you're going to kill Brian Lee, but no, that's not what's going to happen. He's going to kill you every single time. Look,
Yeah.
but don't touch. Look, that's what you tell your team. Look, but don't touch.
Okay. Any other final comments about anyone on this list? All right, Dan, take it away.
All right. Well, I got this my spreadsheet up again. It should just be a kind of an empty list for us to start filling in. I threw a semi-ordered, not official rankings list of warriors to pick from up on the top right. And I figured what we could do next is talk a little bit about the kind of consensus picks for the different rounds. Who's definitely a round one pick as a warrior, who might be a borderline one, and then we'll make some totally arbitrary picks for this first set of queens and go from there.
I like it.
So let me start here and just like create a take a look at this list on the right. Is there anybody outside of like these top 8 or 9 people? So if we just look at this list right here, who's not in this list that's worth talking about for a round one pick by one of these queens?
For sure, Micah and Connor V.
Tell me more.
Micah's great. I think he plays a little bit like Austin. Just can do a little bit of everything. Actually, maybe that's not a good comparison. He's a little bit more aggressive than Austin.
Yeah, Austin doesn't stench.
Yeah, Micah goes for a lot of stuff, but he pulls a lot of stuff off, and he's great.
He's probably a good mold of Matt, Abdu, and Austin, I would say.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
I
Don't expect him to ledge though. He can't ledge.
Yeah. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
I have a semi-sorted list that I created. Do you want me to just copy and paste that into here? It might work better for us down the line. It's a bit color-coded as well.
I like it. One person I'm seeing that I think should be a little bit. There's actually 2 people I think should be a little bit higher. I think Wazy is traditionally not thought of your first speed warrior, especially in Chicago, but he is such an incredible all-around player, and he's pretty dynamite. I also think Michelle could definitely be that stable for speed that you need.
Michelle Lutz.
Yeah. Mhm.
About first speeds?
Just for like high up on the list, I think.
High up on the
Drafting
list?
wise.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Cool. Anybody else?
I think Wazy.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Should we just add name some names, then we can discuss them from there?
Yeah. Do you want to add Kyle Gustafson in there as well?
And I'm kind of just thinking like first. Well, I guess it would be whatever minus because all of these round 1 queens will be minus, but.
Yeah, I can. I can name my top 8, and then I'll bold them. Oh wait, they're at the top of the list. I'm sorry.
Dre, let's start there. Let's do it. Start there.
That's right. Yeah, my bad. These are my top 8 in no particular order. So.
Yeah, it's a great top 8. I think you'd be happy with all of them. They all have great strengths and whatnot. For me,
Steve
Abdu.
Halili?
Yeah.
Wait, what? That's too low.
Steve's going. Oh, it's too low.
He's too low.
Oh, Dan, you had an awesome showcase on Wudang Clan as well too. Yeah, Dan. I think Dan would be a great mold for a first speed striker. I think, but it's got to find the right pairing for Dan.
Yeah, I like seeing Dre. I like that you have Mario up there as well too. I think Mario is severely slept on. He's an incredible player, and I think his map awareness is something that's very special.
Yeah, out of like this list right now, I think the pure let's calling back to Dan Barron again, like Dan Barron like type striker style type players. It's gonna be Ryan, Micah, Matt Abdu, Kyle Gustafson, Marshall Brown, Dan Shupp, and Hilton, and then Connor. Maybe Drew Dobson, but a lot of these top picks over here are like, we discussed before, are known for their vanilla warriors, are known for being like a support player, being like the spine of the board who can play speed. Lev, like you're kind of in between that. Same with D-Ray. But again, I think you two have maybe reeled it in more on the aggression or like, play position more, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, for me, what's tier 1 is you want a player who can do a bit of everything. Like obviously I'm feeling a little egotistical now that you said that. I appreciate it, but like I would struggle with like with my first round pick to pick like Matt Abdu, Kyle Gustafson, Hilton, or Connor. Like they're all incredibly good players, but their vanilla warriors aren't quite as strong as Austin's, myself, D-Ray's, Ryan's, or Woody's, or Felix's.
Right.
So that's I think where the kind of that comes down to each queen and what they're looking for.
So you need a foil. Like if you look on the list right now, like actually if I look at Dan and then like Steve's name is right underneath that, like I think that's a great warrior pairing right there too, because Steve supports the board, Steve protects the queen's back, facilitates like the objective, and Steve is almost always the last warrior standing as well too, and that really frees up the queen and a player like Dan Shupp to kind of like put their mark and stamp their authority on the board.
Is there anything that that we haven't already discussed about that people might be like, I'm really leaning towards like this for my first pick? Like one thing that I think if I were queening that would be really important to me is I get really quiet when I queen. My comms go significantly down. So I think my number one thing that I'm looking for is not only a strong warrior, but someone who can kind of shot call for me. I really want to see like I'd be like gunning it for Woody as my first pick, because I know he's gonna shot call the entire map for me, and like that's what I want. But also like Dan has incredible comms, great at shot calling. Lev is really good at that, just from people I've played with. Is there anything else kind of outside of these areas that you queens would be looking for?
Well, I would on the topic of shot calling, I would definitely throw Ryan in there as like one of the top shot calling warriors. And I love the way he calls shots. Like I feel like not everyone has the same idea of like what strategy you should be playing, but I feel like Ryan really aligns with the kinds of calls I would make if I wasn't too stressed out.
That's interesting. Yeah, because there are going to be a lot of different philosophies, and Dre kind of touched on this earlier about him and B Wong just having different philosophies about the game, so sometimes they clash a little bit. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
I think I would be looking for a warrior that that's gonna help you like regroup and just like slow it down a little bit.
Barley agrees. He's like, yeah.
Because since it's a draft tournament, and there's only so much time you can like actually, how much time are these teams gonna have beforehand to talk? So strats will be a little loosey goosey. So you just need like a good like warrior that's like, hey, we just need to stick with me for this little bit while we just like slow it down a little bit, just like be a little selfless and just like help get one other person up, like, and then we can go start doing all the dope shit that we want to do on this like fun weekend, because it's like one of those weird things, like it's a draft, so you're like, okay, I can have a little bit more fun than normal probably, like in games, and go for stuff, like you said, people want to make a name for themselves maybe if they're a little lower, but you just gotta with those like first like speeds, you want somebody who's going to help you whenever it gets bad, because especially if you're one of the newer queens or the ones that like isn't well known, you need a backbone, even if it's like your speed. We look at vanillas a lot of the time for like that slowdown, but you're hoping your speed is alive most of the time to help you recover.
Yeah.
I think I think I want to transition into a little bit. We have this, like, we've kind of talked about some of the big first round pick players that we expect to see. Are there any people that might fall more into round 2 that we think could be really great picks?
Actually, maybe
Any
what we can do is like go around the room and have each panelist, like take a turn and just make a pick for one of these queens.
Yeah.
Clear off a couple of these round 1 warriors, and then get into who should be the picks for the next group.
So I do have a question about how this is going to work. Are we going to start from the reverse end? So will we start with say Burton getting the first pick, or would we start with Joe?
We
How
would
is this going to
start with
work?
Joe and then go down the list, and
Okay.
then what you see right here, the snake draft would happen within this list. So we would start. So it would go Joe, Crystal, Toshi down the list, Nick, Alexander, Burton again, then Alexander and Nick
Okay.
on your way back up.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay.
So I guess let's just go with order with how our names are in the channel probably.
Elyse, you want to call it
I have
out? Go ahead.
a quick question for you, Dan. So in this then, Burton, since we all mostly agree that Burton was going to be like the first or whatever, like, of the captains. So he actually ends up getting the middle pick, and that's like the strongest position in the draft.
Yeah, I can talk about so the theory here is that imagine that you did have everybody ranked, and imagine there was a number that you could use to rank everybody, and that the whole, queen, warrior, whatever, and then you did a snake draft. The ideal outcome is that you go through the snake draft and everybody gets picked in their actual order, right? So you want to pick the rounds so that Nick and Alexander and Burton, if they're your team 3, that they're going to be picking last, right? And what you get here is essentially this group of second tier people, they're going to have the first pick. And the third round people are going to have this group and they're going to have like the back of the snake draft. So they'll have, kind of group 2 and group 3 right away. Then the second round people get picked. They already had their top picks. And first round people will get 2 picks. And so it'll snake around this way in order to essentially give everybody some kind of like room to work with that roughly aligns with how they're with their tiering. So the second tier queens, they get first pick of the top level warriors. The third level queens, they get second and third pick. Then the top level queens will get fourth and fifth, and then it will even out from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
Okay,
think
well-
like if you're Burton, you're getting 2 picks in the top 10 of the player pool.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, that
let's-
makes
let's-
sense.
Let's try it out. This is a mock draft. Chat. This is a mock draft. So if it doesn't work out, then maybe we can fix a little bit. But this looks really, really interesting, and I really want to try it out.
Let's see how it works.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And if this could inform seeding later, watch it back and Napalm's like, maybe we want to do something different. It's kind of cool while we're doing it now. So I think let's start with Dan. Let's have you go first, and maybe it might be interesting if anybody, you don't have to, but if you have any input about like, oh, I really think Joe or Crystal are going to be looking for like this, so they might draft this type of person.
Totally. Okay, so I'll try to make my pick in like 15, 20 seconds or so on.
Cool.
I'm Joe. I want stability, and I want somebody who's just reliably going to be there so that I can be my queen killing self. So I'm going to take Austin Waters.
Cool.
Right.
All right, Andy, you are going to pick for Crystal.
Should we strike through on the ones that are?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm setting
okay.
it up.
Just kidding.
Okay. We'll strike through it your way. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Crystal, which is awesome. I just got way better at KQ over. I don't know. I don't live in Chicago, so I don't know if Crystal and Woody have like a dynamic that works really well. Am I allowed to ask, or is that cheating?
I don't think Crystal would pick Woody.
Okay.
So we have to think about the whole like not picking people from your same scene.
Well,
'cause I
some
feel like
people will. Like some people will. I feel like if Nick Davis gets to Woody, Nick's gonna be like, I'm taking Woody. But I could see Crystal being like, I want to play with different people. I think that's something that's always been important to Crystal.
I know. Crystal's so
with Trey.
smart. I don't think I can think in her like big brain way, but I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna try to guess what Crystal would do. Okay. Let's see. Crystal is like a smart, safe player that can do every position. I would maybe want to pick my like crazy speed warrior first, but I don't think Crystal would pick Matt. I almost want to say like Wazy would be a good pick for me. This is so hard. I'm gonna go with Lev.
I like it.
I kind of suspect that we're just gonna
You're
see
great.
a lot of greed, and Lev is really good. So
All right, Carlos, you're going to be going next for Toshi.
Okay. So for Toshi, because he plays with Kevin like so much, I think he wants to like have that same kind of like feel with his like warrior. So I think one of the obvious choices is like maybe Matt Abdu, but I'm gonna go with Mika, just so that because I like Toshi does like playing with different people, and Matt being over like on that West Coast and them playing a lot, I think he wants to pick somebody who's on the other side. So I'm going with Mika because they're gonna just try to stinch everybody.
Yeah, I like it. All right, we are going to be heading over to Dre. You're going to be picking next. So you're going to pick for Brian Lee.
Ah, shit. Is it Mika or Micah?
Micah.
Micah.
Okay.
Okay.
Knowing what I know of Brian Lee and what I know of the available players, I don't think Brian would pick somebody from San Francisco. But I know Brian is a very fun kind of nutcase on Queen. I actually think Matt Abdu would work really well with a Brian Lee team. So I'm gonna go Matt Abdu here.
All right, I like it. All right, I'm going to be picking for Alyssa. I think there's kind of a fun, obvious choice, but we're going to go with, I feel like Alyssa would perform really well with, I want to see Alyssa with either Ryan or D-Ray. That's really what I want to see. And I think D-Ray kind of has a little bit more of old school name recognition, so I'm gonna use that as my deciding factor. So Alyssa's gonna play with D-Ray. I picture them getting some really, really, really nice pinches.
Oh, those are great vibes already right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun team. Okay, so moving on, we're going to have Hell is going to be picking for Bert.
Oh, Bert, my favorite.
Oh yeah, you
I'm
know
so-
Bert.
Yeah, I love Bert. I'm so excited to see him clean again. It's tough. That's why I don't like drafts, because it's so hard to pick. There's so many just like good people, and then all the things we've talked about, like what matters of your pick. I feel like Bert's gonna want somebody that's stable, that he can really, really rely on to be able to really do everything. Like, oh crap, our main ledge went down. Who's gonna be able to pick it up? Who can also like shot call while also being a good speed. Who's just gonna be a good anchor all around. So I think he's gonna go with Felix.
Love it. Big Felix stan. So
Yep. Same.
Yeah, that's a good
all right, and then Lev, you're going to be picking for Nikki D.
I feel like Nick likes variety. Oh, actually, Nick knows San Francisco players. He goes out and plays with y'all sometimes, right?
No, but he does go down to San Francisco a lot. I know who Nick would pick first.
Yeah, I mean, like Woody's the obvious potential pick, but would he want to be spicy and mix it up?
He's picking Ryan first.
That's how I thought. But you know, Woody's obviously sitting right there. Yeah, let's just go with Ryan for fun. It's a mock draft.
All right, and then Chase, you're going to be picking for Alexander Lee.
Well, if I were Alexander, I'd probably pick up Kyle, because I think Kyle Gustafson, because I think they'd be pretty good together, do crazy stuff together.
I like it.
Wreck stuff.
Okay. And then we're gonna loop back to Dan for Burton.
Oh boy. I don't know. Let's see how you don't pick Woody here.
Okay, that's an adorable combo.
I guess
Yeah.
Burton's second pick, or should somebody else take?
Let's
a
have
second?
Andy. Let's have Andy do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this whole section is gone now. Looking at these people. Gosh, if I'm Burton and I have Woody, who's probably calling a lot of shots. Honestly, I'm gonna go with Steve Halili. I can see Woody being like a stinch machine, but I would see Steve being like your stable person who's always down to ledge, and I see that being an insanely strong team.
That's a disgusting team right there. Like Woody and
Disgusting.
Steve is your warrior core. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like broken.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so I'm going to pick for. Oh no, it's not me. It's Carlos. Carlos, you're next for Alexander Lee. Ooh, you might have some good insight. You play a lot with Alexander. What do you think he's gonna go for?
Oh, I'm looking at this. Sounds like there's like it's almost too much intel. Like I literally just remember like every single team he's ever played for or with, and I'm just like, dang. Based off what is here, I think he's picking up Dan.
Okay.
Because he wants somebody who's gonna, like we're saying earlier, that will like have good comms on like the cab, because there's a lot of times he like hyper focuses whenever he's like trying to recover, and he needs like that other person to help him like talk and go through. So he wants somebody who's gonna support and make his job a little easier.
Yeah. It's great. Okay, and then Dre, you're gonna be picking for Nikki D.
Nikki D. Okay. So. Oh, I see. Okay, you removed the. Can you? Thank you. Wow. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit more difficult. Nick has Ryan. Apologies, Lev. Earlier, I talked to Nikki separately about what our potential first picks were, and he was like most definitely saying like he was going to pick Piaget. Wasn't trying to like overstep your pick right there. Or your moment
That's
right there.
I mean, you know Nikki, and you guys all played together. That PJ was definitely the obvious option, but Woody was sitting right there, and it was hard to ignore.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes like you know they play together so much too, and then also like having like another queen on your team can feel like driving the car with dad.
Yeah.
You know. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like how you can't work with your spouse or significant other or something like that. Man, this is actually really, really difficult. My heart says that Nick would probably go with potentially Brian M. That I think would be like a good spine, because Ryan and Brian are so familiar with each other, and there's a good understanding. Plus, Nick plays in San Francisco a lot. Wazy would be a good fit there. I also just don't see Nikki picking anybody from our team. I think it might go to Brian, Spencer, or Sam. But I think I'm gonna go with Brian M for this one.
That's a very strong pick.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I'm going to be picking for Bert. I'm trying to think about. I know Bert plays with Christina a lot, and so I'm trying to think about like.
Sorry, Bert has to pick himself.
Yeah.
Oh, Bert has to pick himself. Oh, you're right. Oh, we're already getting to that. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to Eduardo. Okay, so Eduardo's first pick. I think Eduardo. I feel like he's not going to pick anyone from Texas. I don't know. You can correct me, Carlos, if I'm wrong on that.
Probably not, unless it would have only been Austin Waters, because we've been trying to play with him forever. So
yeah.
But anybody else from Texas, he's picking somebody else.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, Mario is such an incredible first speed, and he's definitely somebody that I would want to be my anchor warrior. But I don't know if Eduardo is going to pick him. I think Artie Artie is such an incredible queen. I don't think I've ever seen him warrior, but most of like the top tier queens that I know can kind of like slide into that role seamlessly, and I think Artie would be really fun to play with.
Yeah, he's solid. He's just all around, like most people who've been queening a lot. They're solid at every position
Yeah.
and are stable, and they know how to support their queen properly.
Yeah, like I imagine Artie kind of being honestly a little bit like Dre, like you as a warrior. So I think
Artie's. I played with Artie before when he was a warrior on my team. He never misses his tech, and he's a really good personality to have.
Yeah, I mean, if his tech on warrior is close to his tech on queen, then I think him and Eduardo are going to be playing pretty well together. See them holding some really nice columns. So let's go with Artie. All right, Hell, you get Jess.
Yay, my other favorite.
Uh-huh.
Jess is picking Sam. I'm just saying it right now. Jess is picking Sam.
Yeah.
They play together all the time. They work so well together, and also for some reason, Sam has some psychological thing over Jess. She does really in all of SF. Really, it's like no one wants to get killed by Sam, and then they spook themselves, and then they get killed by Sam. But she's grown so much, and I've just been so excited watching her grow from like being known as this like amazing drone, who I consider #1 drone. I'm not being biased. But she's taught me a lot about droning. But then now watching her transition into a flex warrior, she's growing so freaking fast. It's insane. So I think she's just gonna be a good overall player to have, and also vibe wise, like if Jess is looking for vibes #1, I think Sam's an amazing pick for that.
Yeah, totally agree. I see Andy's nodding her head too. So
we're not biased at all. You
know. Lev, what do you think about who do you think Chase is gonna pick?
Dang, I was gonna give him Artie as well.
That would be a fun team. I would like that team.
I think my top options for Chase would be maybe Connor V or Jason G.
Give me Mario. You want me to get Mario?
Okay. yeah. I've been playing against Mario much, but everyone's saying he's great. So yeah,
it's really good.
Mario.
Yeah, he goes for Stinches. Yeah, you're gonna love
Let's
him.
do it.
I need to pick his brain also.
Mario's great. I have to say, Austin was the first scene I visited when I started playing arcade, and Mario was just like such a sweetheart. Like brought out this Polaroid camera, like took a bunch of photos, gave them to me as like a little memento. He's really nice, but he's also like one of the best KQB players, and he's talked a lot about how KQB has augmented his map awareness in arcade, and he's able to just like process things like super fast on the fly now.
Who's Mario in KQB?
Ewok.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, and then Chase, you're gonna be picking for Rob, and Rob, you can chime in, let Chase know how he did. No pressure.
No pressure, of course. Who do you want, Rob? If I were Rob, I'd probably pick Connor. Be the person I would pick. Because Connor's good. Connor's pretty stable. I think he'd work well with Rob.
Rob in chat, I want columns and horizontal pincers.
Connor's great at those pincers and whatnot. I don't know about columns. I don't know if Minneapolis and Connor especially goes for that as much.
All right, moving on.
I was gonna say, I don't know who else on the map on the list would be good at that. Palmer would be great, but then you have to deal with Palmer in the tournament and being stressed about that.
The TO curse.
Yeah.
Wazy, honestly.
Yeah.
Wazy, I think Wazy's also good for that too. But let's move on to Dan. You're going to be picking for Kyle.
Oh boy. Let's see. Kyle wants a strong warrior. People keep talking up this Marshall Brown guy, who's apparently from Chicago and never travels and is amazing.
He's pretty good.
Tell me about Marshall Brown or Santiago. I see Santiago in Discord all the time. I don't know how to compare the top 3 people on here even.
Oh yeah, so Marshall and Santiago are two of our Chicago's newer players. Marshall is he can hit stinches. His horizontal pincers. Him and I have a joke because we miss all of them together. We're desperately trying to get a lot better at that. The only thing that's holding Marshall back is that I'm pretty sure that this will be his second ever tournament, or by the time this happens, this will be his third tournament because he's going to be going to the pinball one, I think, at the end of the month, outside of Chicago. So he's a bit inexperienced there. So essentially next to zero tournament experience, but he's again like a technical player. He's very aware. Santiago, I think, fits more into the mold of like in the same vein as D-Ray, Austin, and Lev, but not as spicy. Great overall decision making, great attitude, big desire to learn, and Lev probably has more information on Hilton than I do.
Hilton's good, but similar with Marshall, like a lot of great skills, but not as much traveling experience, and so they fall victim to tricks that you might see from a lot of the other players, and so you can't rely on them as much to be up, but they will get a lot of great kills. So that's the balance with them.
All right. Well, I think if I'm Kyle at this point, I'm looking for the strongest known warrior quantities that I can find. So I'm looking down at like Napalm and Jason Galliganitis, and maybe looking at Drew Dotson there.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle's pretty good. Michelle's a pretty good warrior. She's on that list for sure.
Yeah, she's a rock on your team every time. Like
I think she might have played. Did she play with Kyle? I can't on the.
Oh, on the 30 team?
I feel like they had to have played together at some point on a toxic team.
That's right. I think that he might take Michelle. Think that he might not take Michelle because she'll still be available. Because people don't know about her, and he's going to try and pick her up.
That's true. That's good. That's a good point to make.
I think he's probably gonna. He might take Napalm as like the highest known name who's that good. I disagree with putting Napalm low, or on tournament day. I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. If I'm Kyle, I pick Napalm right now.
All right, Andi. What about Cesar? You already gave a little bit of input earlier on what you thought he might like to see.
I know.
Or what you want to see for him.
Yeah, I feel like with Cesar, I just want to see someone who's going to help me rebuild warriors and who has that like instinct to do that. Let's see. So Jason G is still on the list, I take it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would probably take Jason G. He's like Mr. Responsible, and he's actually so good, and he knows how to do everything. Mm-hmm. And I love playing with him. Like, he's so funny because he's like perfect, but then he'll just apologize every time he does something like tiny, or like if he does everything perfect, but like, I don't know, like you miss killing a drone, he'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so bad. And it's like hilarious to me because he's literally so good for how much he talks about himself being bad. But yeah, I would pick him. I think he and Cesar would be an amazing combo. He's like super safe, and he'll ledge as well.
All right, Carlos, you're picking for Dre.
Any input here, Dre?
Dre's gonna pick for himself next round.
I know, right?
I'll tell you how you do. I'll tell you how.
Well, like I have one pick that I'm thinking, but then it's like, well, I think y'all play together too much. Maybe you want something different. It's like one of those things. That's like.
I'll say it.
I would probably lean towards Wazy, even though it's like someone you play with all the time, but just like
he lives with Wazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't know, like it's like too familiar, but it's like because you're getting like you would be getting such a late pick, you'd want something like that and then you have another pick right after it. So that's.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, you're gonna pick for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that's.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going with Wazy. I'm going with Wazy.
Okay. He's in his room right now.
Dre, who are you picking next?
Whoa!
Crazy.
I get to
Dre,
pick who I
Dre and
want
Rosie
next.
together just breaks the draft.
Just makes the
Okay. Okay. Well, this is so ideal for me actually. I love the pick that I'm about to pick next. I'm grabbing Spencer Burton
Of course.
for
So what a
sure.
sneaky pick.
For sure. This is like a dream pick for me.
Mhm.
I can't believe that I had to I'm able to pull from my round 2, the players that were available for round 2, and round 3 I get to pick Spencer off the bat. Carlos, I see what you mean with Wazy. He's an extremely responsible player, but I think looking down at potential round 3 picks, I mean, I live with Wazy, and truth be told, we actually don't play that much together at all. I like even on a normal Wednesday night, we just kind of we're kind of opposite side of the Cavs. What we have joked about potentially playing together in a tournament. Spencer would be my complete anchor. First vanilla. He plays speed like a first vanilla. There's just never really a huge misstep by Spencer, and that's why it's so reliable. I need that constant player there, and Spencer also is extremely humble, has no qualms about taking direction, and isn't the type of player to give you a huff when you just tell him hey, listen, I just need you to go vanilla, rather than taking the option or something. He plays toward the overall team strategy. I do want to comment that my first pick, honestly, from this mock draft for round 2, in place of Wazy, I would absolutely pick Andrew Dobson, the complete fucking maniac, because I think me, Dobson, and then Spencer as an anchor would be really, really fun. It'd be total vibes. And I think Andrew Dobson in a draft tournament, when he gets started, I think he can do a ton of damage. He's an extremely aggressive speed warrior, and I can already imagine the other team on the other side of the cab trembling after hearing me and Andrew laugh simultaneously together.
Yeah,
Well,
I like it.
Well, that was
Yeah,
my
but he
second pick
plays.
for you, so I'm glad I wasn't too far
Oh
off.
really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Damn! Yeah. Dobson, dude. I'm not gonna lie, Dobson for sure. I mean, maybe Jason Mann, but I would definitely take Andrew Dobson there because he fits that perfect speed warrior striker archetype as well too. Having Spencer holding it down, I could just keep grabbing speeds for Andrew, getting him back up, and he's so aggressive in the way that he holds vertical space and stalks the queen. Spencer can shut down the objective. Depends on who my 4th and 5th pick are, but man, dude, Dawson. I think Dawson and Dre are a dream combo. Plus Spencer, heavenly.
Okay, so all their queens, beware. Don't pick Dotson before Dre can get him, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, or Spencer. Don't pick those
Okay.
two.
Oh my god.
All right. We're gonna move on to. I'm going to be picking for Cesar. I'm between Drew and Michelle, but I think just looking at Jason and the type of player that he is, I think Cesar's going with Michelle. I think Cesar wants a striker. Michelle's so good at this game, and she's such a great first speed warrior. I think her and Cesar would play really well together, especially with having that anchor in Jason.
Yeah, I love the Michelle Jason combo for vanilla and speed.
Yeah, I think it could work really well. Honestly, Jason kind of plays a little bit like when Napalm is holding it down as vanilla, kind of similar. So I could see them having really good chemistry on the cab too. All right, next we're gonna have Hell is gonna be picking for Kyle.
Okay, I'm glad you picked Michelle because she's the one I did want to pick, but I didn't want her and Nathan playing on the same team.
Yeah.
Just because they play together all
It's
the
true.
time.
All
We're
the time.
toxic. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're playing on mixed teams, but they're playing on mixed teams together. So thank you for picking her because I want to pick her. I don't know. I feel like Kyle, I've never played with him, so I don't know what his thought process is when he's thinking about teams and stuff. But I know that he thinks out of the box sometimes. Like there's teams that he plays with that you would never suspect that he would play with or make a good combo of, and then they perform really well in a tournament.
I know going into this draft, he is all about who he's gonna have the most fun with. Like that's
Okay.
what he's been telling me. Like when even deciding about like going to this thing, he was like, "All right, let's see who's going." I was like, "Okay, I can have fun with these people. Let's do this."
Okay, cool.
Eh.
That helps a little bit. So I
Him and
think
Hogan. That way that way they submit memes on Facebook while they're playing.
Oh my god.
just they have their phones open on cab right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I want to go with, for me, honestly, it's between Ian and Rosalinda. Like, Rosalinda, I've been watching a lot of Dallas's play, and she's just become such a really strong vanilla warrior that I'm really excited for her to get some visuals on her, like people to actually see her
Yeah.
play in a tournament like this. And then Ian's like, I love Ian too. He's also grown a lot as a warrior too, because like the last time I played with him or around him, he was playing drone, and now I'm seeing him queen and be a speed warrior and like doing crazy stuff. I think I'm gonna go with Ian though, just because he's just such a genuine little gem that I think he would be good vibes for that team.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lev, I'm picking for Rob.
I was looking at Todd Blatt. I know a couple years ago he was playing really well, but I haven't seen him play much recently. Does anybody know if how he's been doing? If he's like still playing much?
I can't remember if did he play in the DC tournament? I don't remember.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, he had to, right? I mean, it's
He has
40,
to.
40-minute car
He
ride.
could have been working or something, you know.
Yeah, Abby's in chat.
So I'm
Mentioned that
tempted to like. Sorry, go on. I am not picking Dotson for Rob because with Connor already, Rob is going to go out of his mind trying to have any structure. So I'm trying to find somebody who can play a more structured format.
you know
I
what?
think Todd could do that, but sorry, what's that?
I have a proposal.
Yeah, Rob was in chat earlier speaking praises of Santiago as well too, and I know that they've played together because Santiago is a Boston transplant to Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. Oh, awesome. Okay.
And Boston and New York have spent a lot of time together. I'm pretty sure New York has done like a lot of like training up sessions with Boston pre-pandemic. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, all right, and we're going with Santiago. Let's do it.
I like it. I think Rob is definitely one of those queens that's going to go with like people he knows who can deliver on what his expectations are.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob watches like everybody's footage and streams. He'll just like dive in, so you know he's looking.
Yeah,
Even
Chase,
if
you're
we don't know.
picking. Chase, you're picking for yourself.
Sweet.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mario. I just got so excited. Or Carlos, looking at the list.
The list.
Yeah, because he has Mario already.
I think I'm looking at Ryan Nern. I think I'd pick him up. I think that'd be fun. He's usually pretty fun to play with. And yeah, pick a Nerd brother.
You got some fast tappers on your team.
Hey, you're already giving away my strategy.
The team of hover transfers. If you can't hover transfer, Chase is not drafting you. Okay. Dan, you're gonna be picking for Jess.
All right, let's have a look at this. Oh boy, I'm looking. First thoughts on the first question is Katie Rhodes actually coming? I saw her on one list, but not on another.
Yes, she is.
She is there and available to play. I feel like this is an important question.
Yeah.
I could talk. I have a high opinion of Katie Rhodes as a player and a person, but Dre, do you or Hel, do you guys want to talk a little bit more about her as a player?
She's an angel reincarnated. Like she's just so sweet. I just love her. But she's also just really fun to play with. She has good vibes like all the time. She's just so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis, we got third a few years ago. She her her tech's only gotten better. She plays queen mostly now. Great vibes. She's not going to be too distraught or bothered if like you're not playing as well as you think you are. We're drafting for Jess, correct?
Yeah.
Or yeah. I think vibes wise it fits there. Katie is also one of the only few people in Chicago that can like literally just hover transfer across the board. I think you're I think you're onto something there, Dan, with Katie.
Yeah, I agree. Katie is also the co-chair of the support pod with Jess, I'm pretty sure. So they definitely have that like rapport and trust already. And I know that's something that's important to Jess is trust on her team. She needs to know that her warriors trust her and she can trust them too. I think that's important to her.
Well, I would just go with her because she's really good, but all those other reasons are also very good.
Okay.
Right, who's got Eduardo?
Andi.
Oh my god, I think I know who I'm gonna pick, but well, is he gonna pick Rosalinda, Carlos? Is he gonna do that?
No.
Okay.
We just played at GDC together, so no, he's
Okay.
picking you would never pick me. You would never pick anybody from our scene.
Skill-wise, I think she's up there, but I'm gonna not pick her because of what you just said. I think everyone is sleeping on Melly semis. Like, I don't think the world understands how fucking good she is at this game. She's really smart. Like, I think she kind of prefers being on the side cab, so you don't always, like, realize, like, which person is her when you're playing against her. But, like, she's a really good ledge. She gets amazing queen kills, and she's really good at queen support. Like, she's, like, low-key can queen as well. So I think she'd round out, like, I get the sense Artie would be, like, more of a crazy speed warrior. And I think Melly would be, like, the responsible anchor.
I like it. All right, Carlos, you're going for Joe.
All right, so I think he's just gonna keep it Texas, since he loves our state so much and visits here. He's gonna pick Rosalinda, because we've gone to South Florida a lot, and I think he's come here twice now. So yeah, I think he like wants to play with her like in something like structured, and yeah, that's what he picks.
Okay. Dre, you're gonna be picking for Crystal.
Okay, cool. All right, man. Out of these available players, still a lot of Chicago left. I'm gonna say for the strength of this team, Crystal is going to pick Marshall Brown. I'm not sure if she will do that if she was given these options, but I think, in my opinion, that this is the strongest pick for this team currently.
Okay. I like it. And then I think I will be picking for Toshi. I think Toshi's going with Hilton. I think Hilton's getting
Great pick.
slept.
And they're
I think
friends
Hilton's
with each other,
getting.
too.
Yeah, I think Hilton's getting slept on a little bit, but Toshi is one of those people that watches a lot of footage. I think Toshi's going to have a really good knowledge of the player base, and I think that will be a good pick for him. I'm sleeping on Hilton. I'm not that familiar with him. I know you've played with him quite a bit though, Love. If you want to talk about Hilton a bit.
Sure. And also, sorry to keep interrupting. I forget sometimes spacing out in Discord that it interrupts the audio entirely.
No, you're good.
Hilton's, he's great. He loves a super structured playstyle. Like I think I said in the chat, if you give him a role, he'll nail that role. And he's just all around good. And I think he also, in particular, had a great round against Toshi in Bumblebash 4. So Toshi probably is not forgetting that.
Okay, I like it. I love the little anecdote there. That's really helpful. Hal, you're gonna be picking for Brian Lee.
Okay. Well, I don't want to say Drew because he already has Matt Abdu, and like, but I mean SF loves speed, so I mean having two crazy speed warriors might be a good thing. But I think I'm gonna go with Alex Hogan. He's part of my scene, and he's been playing the game longer than I have. He's mostly known for queening, but he warriored for Rob at the DC tournament.
He played so well in DC. He seriously stopped all snail progress against like everyone they played against by
really
himself.
Good. Yeah, he's really good. He has a lot of awareness of what's going on. And I think he's just going to be a good, solid person to fill in any spot that Brian needs him to fill in. Like, oh, the ledge goes down, I can fill it in. Oh, you need me to run berries, I'll run berries. He also is pretty good at shot calling too, so I think he'll be a good like anchor for that team.
Okay.
Especially with Matt being all his spicy self, running all over the place.
All right, we're gonna be moving on to Lev. You're gonna be picking for Alyssa, who already has D-Ray.
This is fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think D-Ray and Drew would work great together. Yeah, let's do it. The other options, I guess at this point, it's starting to get into sleeper picks, right? You got Cads, Jason Mann, Todd Blatt, Christos, Paul Hillman are off the top of my head all the great warriors. Oh, and Taylor Christensen are all great warriors remaining. But
we're getting to the
Drew's
point.
too crazy.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'd say we're getting to the point that all these queens will then watch back this last part of this to see any like random intel we have about like their for 4th and 5th picks.
Yeah. I've got some sleeper picks I'm looking out for whenever it's my turn. I'm excited.
Also, another thing that's gonna be interesting is there's like, a few like I know like Brandon and Brian from Austin are both like normally queens, like seeing where like, they end up as like non-queens,
Yeah.
or like so.
I want to play with Brian.
There's honestly still
Brian.
like some top tier players that haven't been picked yet because we're just sleeping on them. So
Yeah. Well, I think there's also something we haven't really discussed is like there's some like top tier objective players, and I think objective players inherently go a little bit later in the draft because sometimes you feel like you need to have that like solid warrior. But like, I mean, looking at like Jen, and when you were talking about Melly earlier, I know Melly loves to run objective, so I was thinking about both of those like two top tier players, but they're a little bit more objective focused sometimes.
Yeah, like it's nice to have. Sorry, what was that, Hill?
I said Jen's a really good flex too. I played with her at Summer Swarm, and she was a delight to play with. She got some crazy ass kills that saved us on a day map. She got like a crazy double kill.
I'm just like looking at this list, and I'm like, I mean, obviously you have Katie. Katie's Cassin's really good at objective too, but like we're talking like I'm talking like best in the entire game objective players.
Katie's drone is insane.
Yeah.
I have like PTSD playing against her drone.
Sorry,
at a certain point, you do want to like in round 4 you want to pick like a person who you know is going to go objective, for sure, instead of like in round 5 getting an objective player who actually wants to go warrior and then having it go buck wild on your team. So even if a player isn't necessarily as good, you might want to pick them higher just because they'll actually follow the role and have your team structure set out. Oh, and that's from actual pick and Drew Dotson.
Okay. All right, Chase, you're picking for Bert, who already has Felix.
Oh, geez. I don't know these people extremely well. He's from Chicago, right? Let's not give him a Chicago person then. I think he would pick, I guess, Brandon. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun team.
Yeah.
That'd be a good team.
Might I interrupt? This might be a good part in the draft for people to volunteer information about players right now too, because it seems like we're getting to the some of the more regionally unknown players, right?
I would agree with that, or like players who are not like the flashy first speed that I think garners a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about CADs at all, Dre?
Sorry, about CAD? Oh, CADs? Yeah.
Because you have him. It looks like you have him pretty high on your list for people you would ideally draft.
Yeah. I get the regionality part. So if I were Bert and I was looking at this list, I don't know a ton of players here, and going off the information that, like, let's say that was like volunteered to me, I'm not sure if that information would be useful. So I do think Bert would in this case pick Kaz. There's a strong argument for what Carlos, your original pick was Brandon, Brian Lucas, because they play Queen, so they're familiar. Like they should have a decent warrior. But getting down to the nitty gritty, I feel like Bert would pick Kaz, just because knowing Kaz, they have rapport, they play together. They have played together casually, and they can work together. Kaz does it all as well too. Kaz actually can speed as well.
Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else regionally on this list that we maybe just the panelists have like sleeping on a little bit just because of our own regional biases? Does anyone else have anyone they want to point out really quickly?
Well, I think we're missing some people still. I think there's still a couple people at the very, very bottom. Like,
Well,
scroll.
yeah.
Let me pump that up.
Oh, I did not see those.
Oh yeah. Oh snack. Yeah.
Dang.
Is Brian Aston from Texas?
He's Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. Is Brian Lucas from Texas?
Yeah,
Yes.
Brian Lucas is Austin.
Okay.
Austin Queen played at GDC. Bing Bong.
Really good.
Is that their team?
Yeah.
He also just
Bing Bong.
has the most lovely personality. He's just like he would be a joy to play with. I think anybody would have fun with him. Also, I want to point out Heather. I think Heather's warrior is really Heather from Portland. I think her warrior is incredible, and she's somebody who can like hold it down. She honestly, I think is somebody that I think's getting slept on a little bit.
She's totally getting slept on, and she has a good ledge, which I think is one of those skill sets where it's always helpful. Like you always want to have someone who will ledge on your team.
Yeah.
As far as regional stuff, like I'll talk about Katie's husband Nathan Caston there, who plays for the last like all the tournaments post COVID has played with Alexander Lee as like his main speed, and he is like even though he's playing first speed, he's like super selfless. Like he's always like he doesn't go for like the crazy things that like you want, most speeds you'll see, be like, oh, I'm gonna get this nice kill. It's like he stays alive. He gets his spacing and zoning is like super well. Like we call it being Nathanieled when a queen is like at the side gates on dusk and is trying to like reach the ceiling, and he just comes through the wrap and just kills you before you can get there because he's like super great at it. And yeah, we're just like, damn it, I got Nathanieled. And yeah, it's just like one of those things. Like, so he's played in, GDC, South Florida this year. I think before COVID, the only thing he got to play in was Charlotte right before. So, but he's he's definitely one of our Dallas's like really good players. And so it's like one of those things I'll be like, people are getting picked later and then like might have a little bit different role, but I think that's when you'll see people like have to pop up whenever like a team's wiped, and then that's when people that are unknown will get to showcase the things they can do.
Okay. If we don't have anyone else to comment on, we can go back to the pick.
I can quickly go through a lot of the Upper Midwest players if y'all want.
That might be helpful because there are a lot of Midwest players, I think, at this tournament.
All right, I'll just go through them top to bottom on this list. Jen Gilbert, y'all know her. I'm gonna skip over that. Y'all know. Paul Hillman, old school Minneapolis player. Great personality. Can do a bit of everything. I think would probably like to go warrior and is quite talented at it. Let's see. John Woodruff. I think it's gonna be his birthday. Him and Jen share a birthday, and it's like the Thursday or Friday before the tournament. Good guy. I haven't seen him play as much recently, but he did Queen and just do a lot of everything at the time. Let's see. We have Heidi Jones. She droned for me in VB4. She's a good drone, good communicator. Ola is one of Madison's better warriors, and she's good at everything, great personality. Sam Tregias, similar to Ola, good warrior. I haven't seen him play too much, but I know he's decent, and I've always enjoyed my chats with him. Shelby Cobra Renee does a lot of queening in Minneapolis. I haven't seen her warrior or drone as much, but like all queen mains, I'm sure she's at least decent at it. Taylor's a great speed warrior, straight up. Maybe the best player left on this list in terms of like floor ability. Like you're getting at least a solid warrior with Taylor. Stefan. Stefan hasn't played very much at all, and is very amenable and a great person. He is generally just good at video games, so he'd be a great drone, I think. You could pick him as a warrior, but he'd be more than happy to drone and would do great at it. Oh, and Brian Sneck is a Minneapolis or a Milwaukee player who played a lot of KQ Black and was good. I saw him play once KQA and he was good. He's just another one of those people who's great at video games and knows the meta, and that'll transfer over pretty well.
I think he was Rob's second warrior for their Baltimore team that got fourth.
Nice.
Do you know his name in KQB?
Sneck.
Oh, it's actually Sneck. Okay.
Yeah.
SSBM Sneck. Yeah.
Nice.
He's great. He's also I met him in person at a Melee tournament we went to about a month ago, and he's lovely in real life as he is online. Second that.
Oh, I missed one more person. Sorry. Tony Rojo and Christos. I think I skipped those two. They're Milwaukee players, and they're both. Christos especially is a great warrior, and they're both all around decent players. All right, and that's it.
Lev, who did you mention before that was a person who could play warrior and drone if you asked them to, and they were a good vibe?
Paul Hillman.
Paul Hillman. Okay, thank you. That's what I was.
I know Paul relatively well. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
You're writing all this now.
Yeah, I co-sign Christos with Lev as well too. Christos I think is going to be a player who can warrior well, but also can drone if you want to. I think if you put too much emphasis on like winning or trying hard though, I think you might turn off some of these later round pick players as well too, who might be here just for like a good time or like casual or something like that, have fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's finish out this last final pick for round 3, and then we're gonna take just a quick minute break. Was it Chase? Was it on you for Bert's pick?
Sure.
I can't remember who it was.
Oh, no, it was Carlos.
It was Carlos. Okay.
No, I think it was. Chase.
It was Chase. Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
It doesn't matter.
I think Dre said that he would go with Cads, but
yeah, we'll give him Cads then.
I can't remember who you picked though.
Oh, I picked Brandon just because I didn't want to.
That's right.
Give people the same city and stuff.
I like it. It'll be interesting to compare this list to what the actual team lists are after this is done. All right, we're going to take a quick 1 minute break, and then we will be right back, and we'll dive into this round 4. All right, that means Dan, you're gonna start thinking in your brain about who Burton's gonna want. We'll talk about when we get back, but you can start brainstorming. I'm actually gonna go to the restroom at this point in time.
Looking for my gummy worms. That's okay. I got a bowl of Kit Kats.
Dre, do you know who Andrew Parkinson is from Milwaukee?
I do not. Let me see here. Andrew Parkinson. Yeah, maybe ask Christos. He's an NA on me for me. I think, are we live too, by the way? I think D-Ray mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're back.
I think that we are probably back.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know Andrew, so that's also a big question mark for me.
Yeah. People, sorry, y'all. Our host is.
I'm here. I'm back. I had to go to the bathroom. We've been on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
Chatting it up. Screen that you were in the bathroom. I just said that you had various duties that you were attending to.
Yes.
Duties.
So many duties.
You're not wrong.
So
All
many
right,
duties.
Dan, let's move on to you're gonna be picking for Burton for round 4.
All right, so I guess this is Burton's kind of last pick, right? Because after this, he gets the last pick in the draft. He's got like Woody, outstanding kind of striker, first speed. He's got Steve on the defense. I guess the question is whether he wants to like pick a known good ledge, or sorry, a known good, like really good objective right now and make sure he has a complete team, or if he wants to like get the best warrior he can and just hope that that person can, that whoever the last pick is can ride a snail.
Yeah, I kind of like though the idea of like if you run a traditional 2-2 team, Steve ledging the god himself and then Woody speed warrior. If you get like, I can imagine if you get like a very solid like Jen who can flex, can also do berries, and then your 5th person also run berries, that could be a really, really good team.
Wonder if like the flex, like I kind of want to look at Cads here too right now, because that like who knows what he's going to get round 5. He might get somebody who's never played the game before if they're last in the draft, right? Although hopefully we're rounding out with Nick and Josh and not doing that. But I think if you can rely on the 5th person to like have played the game a bit before and to be like, even if they're just there for fun, to be if you can rely on that last person in the draft, be competent and like, you know, to like know their game. I think he probably like wants the best warrior, the best, most stable warrior crew around him as he can, right? Like he wants to avoid getting locked out and have to try and save his team against, you know, Lev and Austin and all the rest of these people. So maybe I go Taylor if I'm him and just like rely on the last person to be able to do something and invest in like a hugely strong warrior crew. I'm gonna go Taylor.
Do it.
Burton's team looks so strong.
I know.
Yeah.
Andi, you're gonna be picking for Alexander.
Ooh, I get to pick who's gonna play with Dan. Oh, let's see. I mean, I could see Dan and Kyle being very warrior heavy. I think Alexander will benefit from having someone very flexy. So I'm actually going to go with Cads on this one, even though I think there's a lot of extremely underrated people on this list. But I think this is the right pick for this team.
All right. Carlos, you're picking for Nick.
I think he's taking Brian Lucas. I think he would like also that like he has somebody whose tech is good, and then that's also like a queen, and that, you know, since Nick is one of the newer queens, you know, so I think that he wants that, especially this late in the game.
Yo, sign me up for any team with Ryan or with Nick, Brian, and Brian. And Ryan. Oh my god, that's a handful to say, but like those 4 players, that's gonna be a fun team. That's gonna be great vibes, and they're gonna be pretty strong. I like it. Okay, Dre, you're going for Bert.
Oh, Bert. Okay. If I were Bert in this situation, I would ask Dre what his next pick should be. And I would tell Bert to grab, I would laugh, and then I would say, Jason, man, duh. This is already a great team to run any kind of dream. Jason plays speed war a lot. Old New York player, tons of experience, has a good head on his shoulder, good brain. Brandon has the queen experience, and then Felix to literally run it all, be the backbone of the team. And like Felix could just literally just play like day one killer queen and let the other players run this team for him. But not to say that like Felix can't run an amazing speed as well either. But yeah, Jason Man, I'm very surprised that I'm not surprised because he's relatively unknown and he had a bunch of shit going on before in his personal life. But Jason Man could have gone in an earlier round. So
Okay.
Jason Man is the big sleeper pick of the team.
Okay, I like it. All right, I'm gonna be picking for Alyssa. Andi, do you think Alyssa is opposed to picking people from Portland, or do you think she's gonna want variety of people she hasn't played with? I'm honestly between, like, if she wants to get a third warrior, I'm definitely thinking Heather is like the go-to for me if I was Alyssa. But
I feel
also,
very torn between Heather and Jason Stecky for Alyssa, because also Jason just visited Portland, and we had brunch together with Alyssa, Jason, Julie. It was very cute.
okay, I don't know, where's Jason from? I actually don't know Jason.
So I think he's from Charlotte originally. I think
From
he's
Charlotte
like an
originally,
OG. Yeah. Hell, do you know much about his playstyle?
I haven't played with him too much. I just know that he's such a sweet person. Like, he always let us stay with him when we would go to tournaments. He's like an amazing host. He's such a gem. He played with like Amar and a couple of my scene mates, Julia and Eric, at Bumblebash, and they had a great time playing together.
Oh, okay.
So I think he's a solid pick. Like, he knows the game. He's been around for a while, so I think he's so selfless. He's gonna play whatever role that his team asks him to play.
Okay. I
And
was originally
honestly-
between Jen and Heather.
I would say it's probably between Julie and Heather. I think Julie is probably Alyssa's like favorite objective pick, and you guys probably haven't seen Julie play in a while, but she's really, really good. Her warrior is really good. She actually queens a lot in Portland too. She can pretty much, I don't know, I think I'm biased because I think Portland's amazing, but I think like Julie and Heather both just benefit from being in Portland and coming to pretty much every practice since we've started playing games again, and so they're playing at a really high level. Knowing how Alyssa builds teams, I think she is going to go for that like familiarity and someone that she knows and has played with a lot. My guess would be it's between Julie and Heather.
Okay.
Can I give some insight into Alyssa and Jen? They are in the same RPG group, so that might bump Jen up a little bit in the rankings for Alyssa.
I was thinking like Alyssa, this might be an opportunity for Alyssa to play with Jen that she might not get otherwise, and I could see that being important to her. My gut, okay, so my heart was telling me Jen. Thank you for that, love. I'm gonna go with Jen. Let's do it.
It's getting tough.
I know there's so many good options. Hell, you're gonna be going for Brian Lee.
It's getting so tough now. Well, I think that Brian's gonna go with probably his drone pick this time. And I feel like Rachel is an amazing drone. And she's so sweet. And I feel like she's gonna mold well with that team, especially with like Matt being able to do his spicy thing and Brian being able to do his spicy thing and Alex holding it down. I think Rachel would be a good drone / I mean, she can flex up and get amazing kills too. She played really, really well at GDC. She's like, I haven't seen much of her warrior until like she popped up and surprised me quite a few times at that tournament. So I think I'm gonna go with Rachel for Brian.
I like it.
Yeah, I had the same reaction when watching Rachel at GDC. I was like, holy crap, she's very objective focused, I noticed, and she would get so many kills around the objective, just because I think that's where, when you're a drone, you focus so much on that part of the map. And she knows intimately how to maneuver around there.
Okay, Lev, you are picking for Toshi.
I'm gonna go with Paul Hillman.
I like it. Chase, you're gonna pick for Crystal.
Let's see here. I think Jason Stecky's probably a good pick. He's a good player. So I'd pick Jason Stecky.
Okay. And then Dan, you're going to be picking for Joe Miller.
Let's see. I kind of want to take the hot tip on Nathan Caston here. And
Make it a Texas team. Let's do it.
Where, you know,
Right, just full Texas team.
Hell yeah.
Like Joe knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
He knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
Joe. I mean, Joe played against him too in South Florida, so yeah, he knows.
But
Yeah.
like, if he's taking Alex's number, if he's just taking Alex's whole team and then beating him with it, then
I love it. I love it. Okay, Andi, you're gonna be picking for Eduardo.
Ooh. Okay, there's a few people on this list that I'm eyeing. I think Abby, we haven't talked enough about Abby, but do you remember those games we played after GDC where you were queening and Abby was on abs, which was adorable and just wrecking everything?
Yeah.
I keep thinking about those games and thinking that we're not talking enough about Abby. But I also feel like Katie's drone is so good. Like, I don't know if Eduardo is going to pick a drone this round. I think if he's going to pick a warrior, I would probably go with Heather because she's like such a strong warrior.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know Heather and Melly would have some chemistry from playing together a lot. So yeah, I'm going to go with Heather. I think she's a very strong pick.
See, and I was thinking that's getting kind of close to, I feel like Jess is also probably eyeing Heather, so stealing it from the next.
I think I know who Jess would pick though at this point.
You can tell me, because
I think Jess is going to pick Abby because one, we haven't talked enough about Abby. She's super underrated. And two, like Jess bought her Abby stock early. So I think she kind of knows how good Abby is.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking too. I was like,
I love that phrase. That's great. Okay, Dre, you're going to be picking for Chase.
Hey, Chase.
Oh,
okay. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm curious to see what you would pick here in my stead. Okay. Chase, Mario, Wagner. Ryan's a bit aggressive. The last thing I know about Ryan is that he can be a bit of a glass cannon. Mario likes to roam. Mario should roam. This next pick could potentially imbalance the team.
All right, let's hear it.
Chat's saying Brian Aston.
Oh, that's who I would.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
He can overtransfer, so he's welcomed on the team.
Yeah. Priorities.
Thank you. I saw one clip, and just based on that, I think that's the move there. If I didn't know Brian Aston, I was gonna pick Christos for you, just because you have Ryan and Mario are a bit more loose. Just to give you a last warrior, but
I could do.
I guess if Brian Aston is as good as Chat says he is, he should be able to be a play last warrior.
He can overtransfer. He's welcome.
That's all the needs. Hover transfer pants. Okay, cool.
All right. I'm gonna be drafting for Rob. There's two routes I could go here. I know which one I'm gonna pick. My first thought was Rob can appreciate a very, very solid drone, a drone that can kind of play as a fifth warrior on Snail. So I think Rob knows Katie. I think he probably appreciates Katie's drone play, but I think Rob is going to use his sleeper knowledge and he's going to draft Blue Chris because Chris is typically a KQA queen, but he's a solid warrior. He plays a lot of KQB. He's killed Rob a million times in KQB. I know this for a fact because Rob sent him a little penguin plushie for getting a 15-second hat trick on him. But Chris is gonna be able to play that structured play style that Rob wants. He's going to hold columns. He's not going to let them up. He's going to be consistent. So I think Rob's going to use that sleeper pick to his knowledge.
Damn, Elyse, good pick.
They know each other pretty well. I think they would play really well together too. I think it would be good. All right, we're gonna have Hell's gonna pick for Kyle.
All right. So I think I'm gonna go with Katie. So he knows that he has a strong objective push. So he can support her in that drone tunnel like he likes to do on Dusk all the time. And he also knows she's gonna hit those top berries too. He's not gonna have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
She can hit Coolberry now too. By the way, she has been taught the Coolberry.
Hell yeah.
I in GDC casuals, she was very good.
Yeah, but no, yeah. In that situation, Kyle would definitely pick Katie, and they're like big Discord buddies too. So like, yeah, he's
Oh, cool.
a great pick.
That's good. That's good. All right, Lev, you're gonna be picking for Cesar.
I think Cesar is probably going to go with one more warrior because being on this end of the snake, he can have his pick of a good drone. I think he'll go with Christos. I think Cesar has mentioned that he likes Christos personally in his playstyle.
Who doesn't like Christos personally? Okay, Chase, you're picking for Dre.
Dre, okay. Let's see here.
That's a little reverse.
Yeah, I like that. All right, looking through the list, I think Dre would probably pick Todd Blatt, would be my guess. I don't know if he would or not, but I think that's either him or Julie, because I know you played with her at Camp KQ. I don't know if you would do that or not, but I'd probably pick Todd since you've already played with Julie. But correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think you're spot on for both. I think because I get 2 picks now too again, right?
Oh, that's right. You did get 2 picks, so
Yeah, Dan will pick for Dre next. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were spot on there. I mean, I would.
Right.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think I would pick, but I think my back-to-back picks would have probably most.
Well, let me do mine first.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying to look at this. Does Todd play some flex in there too? Does anybody like? I feel like Todd might flex, but I don't actually know. I look at the folks who are left. There's like some good warriors. There's some. Shoot, I should have let Dre say. Dang it.
No, go for it.
I'm not sure exactly who on the left on the list is a real good drone. I'm probably gonna on Dre right now. I probably take like the best warrior on the list and have Todd flex and run snail because Todd I think will do it and do pretty well at it. If I recall correctly. So that I don't know if that's. I'm gonna say that's John Woodruff based on his name being brought up earlier that he might be one of the best warriors remaining.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't really consider that because John Woodruff also I think is an old school or like one of the first Minneapolis queens as well too. I actually would have picked like round 4 and 5. They're pretty close for me. I would have probably just gone with. I don't know how often like John's been playing or coming out at all. I also don't have like a strong rapport with him, so I probably just pick Todd and then most definitely Julie as my drone or flex, you know. And it was very refreshing to hear Andi talk so highly about Julie because I picked her as my drone for camp, and she was fucking awesome to play with. Just like totally fun, very positive person. And I also commentated with her too during the tournament. A lot of fun. I've actually never seen her warrior either though, but knowing that she could or has one is kind of nice because I don't even think I even like asked her if she wanted to warrior or did anything like that. She was just completely down the drone, which I think is gonna be important for these last picks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Andi, you are picking for Cesar.
Well, I'm so glad that Dan picked for Dre instead of Dre picking for Dre. Because I 100% would pick Julie. I think she's the best warrior left on the list as well. But her objective is also amazing. Her bumps and like her columns as a drone are amazing. So yeah, totally picking Julie here.
Okay. Carlos, you're picking for Kyle.
All right. At this point, I'm looking at Kyle's team, and Kyle's team's pretty nice. Pretty nice. I think in this situation he's picking a Discord homie again, and Eric Merritt from Dallas. Because I know he knows how he plays, and he primarily plays a lot of Warrior here, but I think he's like, at this point, he's like, hey, this, like I said, Kyle's going into this, I want to have as much fun as possible, like this weekend. And so that's what he's doing here. So.
Okay. And then I'm going to be picking, or no, Dre, you're ahead of me. Dre, you're going to be picking for Rob.
Oh, cool. If I were Rob, Rob played with Sneck in DC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob would go with Sneck then. I would be, if I were Rob, I'd go with Sneck.
Yeah, big KQB connection.
Yeah.
D saying in chat that Rob wants Warriors too, and Sneck was his second Warrior in Baltimore, so checks
Okay,
out.
really?
I almost skipped you. I thought I had to go next, and that was gonna be my pick too, right?
That
So
makes sense. Because I believe I've played with like Sneck a little bit when they've come up to Chicago too, and he can warrior. He's still very green, but yeah.
He's hungry though, and he's a good attitude, and I feel like a lot of people on Rob's team they'll be willing to flex. And I think even just like looking at both Chris and Sneck's play styles, like the two of them could do that kind of carousel snail that you were talking about way in the beginning of the draft. And I think they could pull it off. I don't know Rob's feelings on that, but I could see it being successful. Okay, I'm picking for Chase. I need to find a fast tapper. Anyone have any intel on who can tap fast on this list?
Wisely.
I don't know. I was hearing Lev was hyping up Ola earlier.
Yeah, Ola's great. I think she's a fast tapper. I don't actually know. I don't pay attention to people's tapping.
I mean, she's gonna get kicked off the team if she can't hover transfer. So
can Shelby tap fast? I mean, she queens normally, so
yeah, I think so.
I like it. All right, Chase, you're getting Chase. Oh wait, Andi, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask who's just in time.
He's from Chattanooga.
Oh, okay.
He's a fast tapper.
Yeah, his
but
name is
he's definitely a wild card, I'd say. If you're lucky, he'll bring his hot sauce because he's got a garden full of peppers and everything. And his hot sauce is on
Do we, Carlos? Are there any other Texas players on the list that we haven't talked about? There's a few names I don't recognize, so I'm just wondering if they're.
I think that's everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, that's everybody from Dallas or Austin.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry, can we get more elaboration on Eric Merritt as a player, and then also just in time, please?
Yeah, Eric's probably been playing KQ just as long as anybody in Dallas. Like he's like one of the original players. He just took some time off, like right when like me and Eduardo were starting to play. But for like for like a year before COVID, he was grinding hard, and now he's like playing as much as possible. I think he was at Cactus Clash 3, played on Brian Lee's team, did pretty solid. So yeah, he can hold his columns and all tech. He's got all the tech down because he used to queen, but now he's like just focusing on like warrior and flexing. So yeah, so his game sense is really good. He's definitely, even though he isn't known nationally, he's got a lot of hours on the cap.
Okay.
I can talk about Justin's pretty he's like a OG here in Chattanooga. He's been around for a while. He's generally a speed warrior, taps fast, has good reaction timing.
Oh, that's music to my ears, Chase, for your last pick maybe. Would you play with anyone from Chattanooga or no?
No.
Okay.
I play with them all the time. I don't need to play with them.
Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty fast. He's a chill guy. He's cool. Yeah, again, if he brings his hot sauces, then all the better because his stuff is really good.
It's funny. Chase, I think you are. Someone did bring up that Shelby does queen, and I think queens respect other queens. And they recognize that, and queens make good warriors a lot. So I am gonna go with Shelby. I think.
Hey, I can dig it.
Okay. Can maybe be a fast tapper too, so we'll find out. All right, and then Hell, you get Jess's final pick.
I'm gonna go with Ola.
Hell
I
yeah!
really didn't want you to pick
team.
Ola. I wanted to pick her.
Badass team full of women. I love it.
That's so
nice.
cute.
This team wins.
And Ola's so sweet. I met her at KQ30. We stayed at Wilk and Casey's place together, and she's just so sweet. I don't really know much of her play style, but I feel like, well, like Lev said, she's like one of the better players at Madison. So I feel like she would be a good fit with Jess, vibe wise and play style wise.
Sweet. Okay, Lev, you are picking for Eduardo.
Andi, would Melly? Do you think she's gonna want a warrior in this tournament, or do you think she'll want to drone?
I think it would be a mistake not to have her warrior because her warrior is so strong. Like she often volunteers to drone, but I think her warrior is amazing.
Okay.
So.
And Heather is similar situation, right? Will volunteer to drone, but is also loves to warrior and is great at it.
Yeah, and I would say with like both Melly and Heather, they're both ledges, which is rare to have two good ledges. I think it's because Portland loves berries, but
in that case, this is fun. Let's go with Stefan. I think Stefan you can rely on him. Actually, wait, sorry, let me back up. Let's go with Sam. Sam, you can rely on both of them to do whatever you want. But Sam has been playing more and is more recently practiced.
Just really quick, I picked Shelby for Justin, so we might want to switch those for Chase instead of Justin, so we might want to switch those two.
Okay.
Chase said no Chattanooga. Okay, and then Chase, you're picking for Joe.
Well, I'll give Joe Justin.
Okay, hell yeah.
Let Justin have some good time with them, then maybe he can, I don't know, sabotage that team when we play.
Okay, Dan, you're gonna be moving on for Crystal.
Sweet. All right. What does Crystal really want? Would love some objective, right? I think Heidi like complements this team perfectly, right? Bunch of hot warriors, experienced OBJ in there too. Yeah, let's go with Heidi.
It's a good looking team.
For sure.
Okay, Andi picking for Toshi.
Ooh, okay. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised Shelby's still on the list. I'm probably picking her at this point.
I picked Shelby. I think she's not on the list.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay, just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, darn.
Sorry.
I actually don't... Okay, so I don't know Tony, Steve, Stefan, Andrew, or Megan. Does anyone want to vouch for them?
Vouch for all of them.
Steve's from Chicago, isn't he, Dre?
Yeah, but
Steve that I know.
Oh, that's Steve T.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
I know him.
that's what I thought.
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Okay. And then where's Tony from?
Milwaukee.
Tony's from Milwaukee. Tony's quite decent, but he plays warrior. I don't know how he feels about potentially being asked to drone on this team, but he's come out. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Josh DeBonis here.
I like it. It's always fun to play with a creator too. Could see Toshi and him nerding out.
Yeah, exactly. I think they'd enjoy playing together.
Josh is a great pick, though. Josh will definitely run a very good drone, right? And you can hack the game whenever you need.
Yeah. But Nikita did win the Camp KQ.
On drone.
Yeah, you know, Josh is hungry. Josh needs this.
Carlos, you're picking for Brian Lee.
All right. I am gonna take Tony because I'm looking at the sheet that Napalm sent with their like what they ranked themselves, and he put flex. So like him and Rachel, like if they go back and forth flexing,
Yeah.
I think that'll work really well.
Smart, super smart. Okay, Dre, you've got Alyssa's last pick.
Alyssa?
Best for last. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this team. You know what? This is gonna be a lot of similarly with Andi. I don't know much about these players at all, but so Steven Showers, any info, Lev? Anything you want to highlight about this person?
I love Stefan. Just as like a human being, he's a wonderful person. He's
Did he play on your BB4 team?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Same hairline, but we had the pins.
Yeah.
So we look the same. Yeah, he's great. Wonderful person, good communicator. Doesn't play too often, but has always just like been able to come in, pick up the game, and be decent at it after not playing for months.
Does anybody know anything about Andrew Parkinson or Megan O'Brien?
Mm-mm. Do we know what scenes they're from? Do we have a list with that?
Megan
O'Brien. She's from St. Louis.
I think that's Ryaner's fiance now.
Oh, well, congrats to them.
Awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah, he was telling us that story after like it happened, and it was adorable, like his proposal.
Oh, I think I played against them in Bumblebash
I
4.
saw that video.
Yeah.
I think she's pretty decent. If I'm remembering right, I think she got some really nice kills on me.
Okay, well, sounds like everyone else on this list can tap. I'm gonna say that Alyssa will go with Stefan Showers. Has the travel experience, has been to a Bumblebash, knows what the stakes are, or what not like little stakes there are, what expectations, but
Wow,
you know.
that's the stakes in KQ.
I like it.
If he's good enough to be made a pin of, he's good enough to be on Alyssa's team.
That's true. That's true. The wise words of Dre. All right, I'm picking for Bert, and I think you kind of said earlier, Dre, that Bert might maybe index towards picking people that he's familiar with. So if that's the case, I'm gonna go with Steve. Okay. Next is going to be Hell's gonna be picking for and Nikki D.
I'm going to pick Nikita because they played at camp together and won. And also that would be a little hit to Burton's strong team since Woody's on that team and they played together at camp. So
Smart. I like the strategy. I like it. Okay, and then rounding it out, we have Megan O'Brien's going to be playing with Alexander Lee. And I think a little bit of this is definitely our regional bias. We don't have many people from St. Louis area here, so but sounds good. And then we have a few people on standby, correct, that are not on the team list just in case from Bumblebash that are not already on this list, just in case we need more people. Is that right? Does anybody know?
I think maybe I heard that mentioned, but I'm not absolutely sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not 100% that we have the exact correct list, and there were some people who were got thrown on lists on Friday, and we're not sure what's going out. So there could be a whole nother team potentially that we don't know about. But this was the best we could do, just today, right?
Yeah, no, sounds good. I think let's go over these teams a little bit. We'll talk about the teams for a little bit, kind of our predictions, what we think. Are there any teams on this list that anybody is like looking at right now and they're like, wow, that team is broken?
Steve Burton's team.
Burton's team with one bot.
Yeah, honestly, still.
That's his comfort zone. What are you talking about? Burton with the bot? That's what he wants. That's he planned it out all that way.
Who shouted out Burton? I didn't quite catch that. Lev, all right, talk about where are you thinking? Where are you seeing?
I mean, Woody and Steve are just disgusting together, and then you added a third, Strong Warrior and Taylor. And anybody they pick up, even if they're very inexperienced, is still going to be decent. They can just literally set them on snail, and it's good to go.
Anyone else have any other? How would you say?
Nick's team is very strong too.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was the one thing that came out to me.
Wait, isn't this hilarious that it's like 2 Brians, 2
Yep.
Nicks, and a Ryan?
I think like when we put Brian in round 4, I was trying to say, I was like, ugh, it's a mouthful, that team. Dre, what were you? You were giggling about something a few seconds ago. What were you thinking?
Oh,
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
my bad.
We have in the chat, people are saying Dre's team and Crystal's team. So let's talk about both of those really quick. Let's start with Dre's team. Dre, how you feeling about this team? You think you can win with this team?
I think potentially. I think it's a bit on the safer side for me. If these were the teams that we actually had to go into camp, this team I probably would be running berries with.
Okay.
With maybe Todd and John starting off initially running berries. I think we would suffer. Our snail progress wouldn't be that great. I'd have to slow down a lot, I think, or play much more aggressively to make up for Spencer and Ryan. But I'm not sure. I think we could make top 3, but I say that about every tournament. So who knows? Compared to the rest of the field, I don't know. I think the team right now is a bit flat, but the Crystal team, the Nikki team, I think are the most dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Do you think both of those teams are running 3-1 snail?
Yeah, let's see here. Crystal, yeah, I think you can run 3-1 snail on this team. Jason Stuckey, he actually won his first tournament at the first ever Starlight Invitational, where he was playing with both Turbo was screening it, and then Domish was playing Vanilla Warrior, and they were kind of like giving him tutelage, like during that entire tournament. And I think Emily Gamble was droning, so he has a lot of, I think, like I hate to use this word right now because I can't think of anything else. Like, here we go. I found a better example. The foundational knowledge of Killer Queen.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marshall and Lev can just run the board with Crystal. That's going to be good. I don't see a strong weakness there. That team is really balanced.
Okay.
Brian Lee's team looks like a bit of a riot. I think especially with like Matt, Alex Hogan, and Rachel and Tony, they could run some very classic Brian Lee strategies. Something weird, maybe some dayberries. Because Alex Hogan also likes running dayberries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through the rest of the board. Alexander Lee's team, also aggressive. Maybe skewed, maybe a little bit imbalanced with 4 and 5. But I'm honestly like, I'm hot on Woody and Burton teaming up really, really well. Burton, I had Burton going first, and I had Burton picking Woody first as well. But I'm actually really uncertain about how well Steve will work with Woody and Burton.
Okay. Yeah, because you just played with Steve at GDC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I think that like it's tough to say. It really is, because Steve doesn't say much, and Steve also has his own like pathing and his own way to play. I don't know much about Burton, and I know that like, he might have some muscle memory there. Woody has a strong personality. Maybe they can take a seat back to that. That team might be feast or famine.
Okay. I can see that. I could see it. I like it. Some people in the chat are saying Alyssa's team looks super fun. I would agree with that. I think that looks like a strong team. Especially with Lev was saying earlier in the chat, I think that Jen might be leaning towards going a little bit more objective focused too, so that could open up Stefan to do a little bit more warrior. Chase, what are you seeing when you look at this? Who are you most scared to play against?
Toshi's team looks pretty good.
Okay.
But...
You're just scared of Micah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of him. I know how to play him. Micah's nothing.
Toshi's team is really good, though. I mean, some solid warriors. Obviously, Josh is going to do a great job, especially if he's going to be running Snail. Toshi is my one queen that I really want to see get a strong complement behind him. I think Toshi has a very high ceiling in this game.
Yeah, big agree on Toshi.
Yeah.
A pretty strong compliment behind him at GDC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. That was his first like not underdog team, right? He finally got like a it wasn't like a Ferrari, but it was more like a Miata.
Yeah.
Colleague, okay, so Kevin's a Miata. Okay.
Yeah, Scott Wilkowitz Scott Wilkowitz literally owns a Miata, so you are correct there.
Oh my god, that's great.
Elyse freeze.
Yeah, Elyse is definitely
Oh,
frozen.
okay.
That's a great
Yeah,
Smiling.
okay.
Either that or she has the strongest face muscles ever.
Lev, did you
Oh,
comment on your team?
Elyse is back.
I didn't comment on my
Sorry.
team, but
my dog keeps hitting my Ethernet cord.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
sorry.
We were just waiting for you to talk, and then your mouth just like never.
Sorry.
You're present.
I feel great about my team. Honestly, I feel like this is like Jay said, it's really balanced. We would be able to. Crystal's extremely good at gate control. I think that's one of her biggest strengths in any role she plays, and I think me and Marshall would, and Jason and Heidi would all do great with that. So I feel very happy if this is how it would break out.
I love how Jess also landed with a full fem team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just incidentally, because they're just so good.
Yeah.
That team's gonna be a real cute team right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with Sam on Jess's team, no one else is going to be able to kill Jess, so that's too strong.
There you go. I have a little bit of FOMO looking at this Jess team. I've always wanted, Jess and I have always talked about running our like Shash tribute. This looks like it could be it. I'll be happy to root for him if that's the case.
I mean, it is a partial Shash team.
It's true. It's true. It's very, very true. Got Sam holding it down. Any other lasting thoughts on these teams? Are we looking at any of these teams and we're like, on paper this looks like it could be really strong, but kind of to what like Dre was alluding to before, like maybe personalities or like play styles might clash or might take a little bit of time to iron out?
I look at Bert's team and I'm just like, he's got people who've been playing for a while and have like seen a lot of phases of KQ, so it'll be interesting to see like when they all get on the cab together what they really try to run. And then you have a Brandon who's like also a queen. That'll also be like interesting. So it's like in other, you think of like other team stuff like sports, like experience works really well when you get a really experienced team. But like in KQ, is it the same thing? If you're just mashing people together who've been playing for a long time, will they mesh well together, or they be a little stubborn into like, oh, this is what we should run, or stuff like that?
That Felix guy, he's yeah.
What if everybody else is pro family portrait, and then
Felix he's gone.
Yeah, he's just going straight to the airport.
Oh, that's great. That's funny. Any other thoughts? I think someone else was chiming in.
Yeah, I think Rob's gonna have a hard time coordinating with his team. Connor is good at pretty much every aspect of this game, except for playing in a structured environment. I think he does really well as a loose cannon who just goes off and murders everything on the board. But to be your like kind of anchor, your first round like person that works with Rob, I think they would miscommunicate and miss each other a lot on where to be.
Okay. Fair point.
I've triggered Felix in chat apparently.
I think Chase's team is really interesting because it has 4 queens on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So I think that could be a really interesting team too. Because I mean, Andy's played on a full queen team before too. With
Honestly,
Dre.
it's so great. Like you just get carried on a full queen team because everyone else is like managing the game states and everything. Like you just have to be a queen and stay alive, which obviously Chase is very good at in addition to killing.
Is Brian the fourth queen?
Yeah, I think
Shelby.
it's
Well, I
it's
know Shelby
Ryan,
is. Is it
Brian,
Brian?
It's
Shelby.
Debbie, Brian, and
Because
Ryan. Yeah. Is
Mario Queen's in KQB, so
Oh shit.
Well, there you go.
has that
Okay.
mentality. Okay, Chase, you got fast tapping queen team.
Hey, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm ready to win.
feel very supported. All right, well, I guess we'll just go through if we have any lasting thoughts about this team list. We'll talk about it. If not, we will start wrapping this thing up. Even
Jess asked who was picked criminally late in this draft.
Oh, that is a good question.
Definitely Brandon.
What was the
I'm
question?
trying to look at this list.
Who got picked like super late? Who should have been picked sooner? Like,
Oh, huh. I'll name a few. It's pretty easy. You know what? I'll bold them in a color, or
Okay.
I'll highlight them in a special Dre color. Chris Cads, Jason Mann, understandably so. Let's see here. Yeah, people don't know Marshall. You know, maybe Drew was a little bit late, but I think Cads for sure. I think
Yeah,
Cads
you're
is
like
the
people
one-
know
the one-
Cads. Marshall's relatively on the block new.
Mhm.
I'm looking
Right, but
I'm
like,
looking at Jen. I think Jen is a I know Lev, you all won was it Seattle's tournament? Jen has placed in like top 3 in a few tournaments, right?
Yeah,
Like multiple.
I almost never do well anymore unless I play with Jen in a tournament, and I think a large part of that is because her shot calling and her just having that good objective focus helps orient the team really well.
Yeah.
She just got home from bottomless mimosas, so there's a chance she's gonna come in here drunk in a moment.
Please put her on the stream if she's comfortable with that. That would make my day.
I will.
You can float it to her.
But yeah, so we in Seattle. No, we got third place, I believe.
Okay. Lev, who do you think is criminally slept on this list?
Ooh, honestly, Rachel. I think. Well, no, I think that's like a fair, not criminally. That's a fair sleeping on because she mostly drones, and people don't realize how good she is at warrior. Spencer Burton, honestly, could have been a first round pick.
Okay.
I disagree with you, Lev. I think Spencer is where he is.
Hal, what do you think? Who do you think's getting slept on?
This is why drafting is so hard.
Yeah.
No, I feel like Michelle, even though she was
Oh yeah.
second pick, well,
Mm.
third round, but second for that particular team. Like, I think that she should have been picked earlier, honestly. She's great to play with. I played with her. She's amazing, super awesome on cab. She has saved multiple games when I played with her. Like, if she wasn't on point, we would have lost. So I do think that she was definitely getting slept on.
All right. We got some fun superlative ideas from D-Ray. He just added me. He has some ideas about most likely to go full mill, most likely to go full flex, most likely to go full snail, most likely to go full berries. Which of these teams is most likely to go full mill? It's probably the easiest to start with.
I could see Chase's team going full mill.
That's what I was just about to say. I feel like I could see Chase's team doing that too.
What about most likely to go oops all berries? Any teams
Oh,
that might do
oh,
that?
Kyle's gonna
Brian
make
Lee.
it.
I think
Kyle's gonna make their
Bert's
team
team
go
is
all
full
berries.
mill all day. Bert's team is never gonna get up objective once.
Oh, I agree with Dan on that one. Yeah, I was gonna say Bert's team is the all mill team.
Okay.
All berries is Brian Lee.
Do you think will Abdu run berries off the open?
If you
Abdu's
can't get a
down to
speed
clown.
gate,
He's down to clown?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay.
I could see him getting
tell him that he
speed and
can
running a speed berry.
Exactly. You tell him he can get speed berries and he's down.
Yeah.
Yeah. there you
Okay,
go.
okay. So it's just the speed. The speed is what he wants. He has the need for
Yeah.
speed, not the
He
need
has
for
the need.
not for warrior necessarily, but okay,
Correct.
okay, that's great.
I still say Shipwatch is for sure gonna do like all berry. Like he ran Dayberries in South Florida, and didn't get them all in. But I know he took a map off of Alexander Lee's team running them. They're like down to last berry. So he's definitely gonna have his team do that.
Okay, that's
a few
great.
times. A few times.
Jen, I want to hear your hot takes on this team list. What do you think?
All I got in my hat are wedding dresses, baby. That's all I'm thinking about.
I said bottomless mimosas. I didn't want to book this.
I went to bottomless mimosas and then I went wedding dress shopping.
Did you find one?
I found a couple.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So I'm looking at the list and I'm like, I'll process that later.
Okay, sounds good. How would you feel about playing with Alyssa? Let's just hear about that really quick then.
Alyssa?
Yeah, you ended up with Alyssa in the draft. Alyssa's
Oh,
your
wait,
queen.
is this like the final?
This is like a mock
This is
draft.
fake.
this
It's
is a
fake.
mock draft?
It's fake.
I
Yeah.
mean, I freaking love Alyssa. I play on a wonderful RPG group with her, so we have good times.
Okay. So you're like down to play with Alyssa. Okay. Sounds good. All right. I think we're gonna switch over to Dre really quickly. Wanted to ask a quick question to the panelists about balance between these teams. Hand it over to you, Dre.
Yeah, I know initially when we were first starting the draft, the chat had a few questions about the order and how it was all going to work. Some people were confused with like Joe Miller starting first rather than Burton. I just wanted to ask the panel and ask chat, looking at the end result now of the draft, how balanced they think it is compared to what their initial thoughts about the idea was, and versus how we've done snake drafts traditionally before in Killer Queen. I like this one a lot more. Just to throw that out there.
I really like this format. Like, I almost want there to be a tournament where the teams are decided by committee after everyone registers, because I feel like this was great, and I really want to see these teams play against each other. This is just a bracket I want to watch.
That's cool.
All right, let's get this list to everybody, and just be like, hey, once the tournament's over, we just need y'all to run like a quick, single knockout with these teams.
Oh, it should be fun. That would be so cool.
Oh my god.
That would be neat. I'm thinking about this compared to camp, and I mean, obviously I can't remember who got. Did you get 4th at camp, Dre?
I got 5th.
You got 5th. Who got 4th?
I think it was Dylan Lee.
Okay, yeah. So like
or
you're looking
Cody.
at
It was Dylan Lee, Cody. It was
Cody got 3rd.
We got 3rd. Yeah,
right.
we got 3rd on Cody's team.
Yeah, so
my
like
bad. Woody, Jeremy, Cody, Dylan Lee, then
yeah.
myself.
So you're looking at like camp in that draft list, and it still is like the top queens. Like, you have you have Dylan, you have Cody, you have Woody, you have Jeremy. And so I kind of, looking at this, it looked like more of the middle of the pack, and then more towards the lower end kind of looked like they might have the more stronger, well-rounded team. So I kind of inherently like that a little bit. I think Queen is just such a strong position as it is. I think this drafting format, I don't want to say it nerfs the higher end queens, but it definitely like knocks it down a notch, which I think it'll be interesting to see this play out. I like this a lot. I think this worked out really well. I was skeptical I was very skeptical of starting with Joe in the drafting, but I like what I see here.
Yeah, I'd be
Any
curious how it would have turned out if we'd started with Burton and then kind of gone up and then back down in that sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
at draft, didn't they do it to where like whoever they thought was the bottom tier queen was really getting like the middle pick? Like there was what 20 something queens or whatever.
They
How many?
let I think it was like they let the newer or more inexperienced queens pick their draft number, and then they like
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So like it was kind of whether do you think it's stronger to be right at the beginning and get the top picks, or maybe you want to be towards the end because you get the two with the snake draft. I think that's how it went. Dan or Andy or Dre, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I think we were like I got to choose my pick order, I guess, and I like didn't realize that everyone already knew that being in the middle was stronger. So I requested a very low number to pick first. And I feel like it would have been better to be in the middle.
I don't even know if
Oh.
like looking at it's kind of I still have like no idea like where the queens were. So I wonder if like
Yeah.
if Dylan actually had like some data on knowing those picks and was like, yeah, definitively it's better to be in like this section. I don't know.
I'm not sure either, but I don't recall that I was able to pick my placement. Maybe
You were
some people
probably
were.
given your placement.
I was given my placement.
Yeah.
But with I think this works out better. I mean, like this is like a completely different like tournament than camp. Camp was awesome, but I think one of the main things about camp was that it was a bit bloated. I think there was like 26 teams, and that's like 130 players. Some had to drop out last minute. Some had some like weird issues. But it suffered a lot from like player bloat, and what I mean by that is like the way that they did the drafting back then was that it was essentially kind of anonymous because they wanted to keep a surprise so that you had found out who your team was the day of the tournament, and so there wasn't a lot of discussion about the players at all between the captains, and I think a lot of people suffered because of that. I think overall the tournament suffered because of it. Not having captains talk about players or players talking about players from their teams.
Yeah. And you've said that the queens going into this, there has been some discussion about you would like to be a little bit more collaborative. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. I guess I'm the only one here, but yeah, I've been talking to Jess a bit about it, and it's been in kind of like we just need to make sure that everyone's in like a group chat or like a Discord or something, so that like I think we just have to get it started. I mean, this show's a great jumping off point, but I definitely don't want anybody to just like take a guess because that's gonna ruin the captain's experience and the player that they draft experience as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also kind of goes back to what Napalm was saying about the spirit of the event earlier, and I think that kind of thinking is very much in line with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get the appeal, and I get like what people are saying about like picking players who are like sleeper picks or unknown players or yada yada yada, things like that, to give yourself the advantage maybe. But I think the way I would like for people to come at this draft is that for you to assume that it's like a local draft anyways, and in a local draft you already know all the players, and the captains can do whatever they want with pretty much like a shared, I guess, like knowledge pool. If I'm wrong or if somebody disagrees, please chime in. But that's currently where I'm at with it.
No, I think it makes sense. I think it definitely makes sense, and It'll be really cool to see that happen. I think that will help with a lot of the balance. Like you're saying, some of the teams with camp didn't necessarily have that. So, and overall, will make it a good experience for everyone playing. So that's very fair. Well, I guess, do we have any thoughts on who is most likely to be the most spirited team?
Jess.
Okay.
They're so cute. I mean, they have Katie Rhodes. They're gonna have the most spirit no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts?
Any team with Dotson on it.
Okay.
We're-
Yeah, Dotson
we're
and
excited.
Dotson and Alyssa will be
Yeah, it's gonna
fun.
be great.
That's huge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, we are going to start wrapping this up then. Thank you, everybody on the panel, for joining us for this mock draft. Obviously, we won't know until the final teams are out. It'll be super fun to compare this after the fact and see how we did. But thank you all for joining us. I know this was it was a lot of fun, but also a lot of effort. So thank you for jumping on with us. Then I'd also like to give a big shout out to KQSF for putting this whole thing on, setting it up, contact everyone, doing all the behind the scenes work. It's been super fun to just have this Killer Queen content in the meantime. I know we're just kind of ramping up with COVID and vaccines and stuff like that and getting back to playing. So super excited to be a part of this, and thank you for everything you are doing. And then finally, thank you to everybody for turning in today. Lots of F's in the chat. I see all of y'all, but thanks everyone for watching. Super fun to do this. I think this is it'll be very nice to see how this all shakes out. And we're gonna quick reminder that vaccine is required at the conference. So make sure to remember that. Is that actually true? I thought it was a negative test.
I thought that too. I thought it was like negative within 72 hours or something.
I think
Yeah,
for-
vaccine or 72 hours negative, I believe.
Okay.
I think for the tournament itself, they're imposing a vaccine required, short of any
Okay.
exemption.
Okay. For the KQ tournament.
Yes, I'm not sure if that's official, but it seems that way.
Okay, sounds good. We'll definitely be on the lookout for that. If you are not already vaccinated, make sure to look into that, because that would be a bummer to not be able to go because of that. So thank you everybody for joining us. I think we are going to sign off shortly. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
All right, goodbye. Thank you.